welcome to America's Funniest Home Podcast. I am Tom.
I am a bag of meat. I'm Travis.
I am your Cody for the evening.
I'm Mike.
And over Skype tonight, we have a special guest from one of the best podcasts ever.
Oh, yeah?
Really the finest. Heavy Hole Podcast.
Oh.
We have Justin Walland.
Woo.
Hey, guys.
What's up, Justin?
Yo, what up, man?
Hey. Nothing. Quarantining my dreams away. Cream dreaming, quarantining.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask, put it out there right now. How was your week, Justin?
It was good. Tom?
Wow. Efficient. I like this.
Justin, you call me out a lot on the show, on your show.
Sure.
You used to.
Sure.
And you know what? Today's episode, it's gonna be Rage in the Cage right now. It's gonna be Hell in a Cell.
We don't want to skip too far ahead. We usually don't do wrestlers. And because one of the podcast hosts is very sensitive to wrestlers, and that would be Cody because he's Hawaiian.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Very important to my lineage.
Yeah.
Are you related to The Rock, Cody?
Probably. It's a tiny island. We all fuck.
That's cool.
See, everything I know about island pro wrestling is just every island is Samoa. So it's amazing to hear that there are other islands out there.
Manhattan, Samoa. Long Island, Samoa.
Well, back to what I was saying. My week was boring. I did have this thought. Everyone's going crazy. They're trying to find hand sanitizer and antibacterial soaps. Shelves are currently stocked with moisturizer. So if you've been looking for an opportunity to moisten your skin, it's never been a better time.
Dude, my
skin
has fallen off from the amount of I'm washing. Like in between, I've never seen such dry turtle skin in between my fingers.
I don't get how the moisturizer's not gone. I washed my hands so much. I guess people are just dropping the ball. I've been washing my hands so much that it's just like it's like the Mummy. I'm like, I got scarabs crawling underneath my fingers, and I need to moisturize them to get them out. You know what I'm saying?
It's the plastic surgery lobby that promotes the non-advertisement of moisturizers in the marketplace so that you could deal with all of your flappy, crusty, cracked skin later through surgeries.
Well, I mean, I love a good conspiracy, but I don't know about that one.
5G.
I'm gonna get some lotion later.
Yeah. Mike, how was your week? Speaking of lotion.
Drinking lotion.
Yeah, lots of lotion, and I don't know. I'm sat inside because
Why?
Corona.
Is that a symptom?
You've been doing some isolation skateboarding. Like they put you in a
That was an
black
exception,
and they
yeah.
put you in a black box, and there's no light, and you have
That
to
was just
skateboard.
VR. That was just a VR recording.
There's a simulation.
Yeah.
Is that Morpheus
leave the
behind
house.
you?
Me?
Yeah, is there Morpheus? Is that Morpheus?
That's a potted plant.
That's a
plant.
plant traps.
Yeah, that is exactly what Morpheus looks like. You don't even know what shape he's going to take. He's going to be like, Mike, what pill do you want? The dank pill or the shit pill?
I'll take the shit pill.
Cody, how was your week?
I'm good. Not doing anything. This is all the same to me. This is literally all the same to me. I stay in my fucking house, I research bad people, and I play on my Nintendo fucking Switch and eat, like, single-serving microwavable pizza.
All right.
This is par for the course. I'm washing my hands more because, like, I don't know who touched the packaging of my cigarettes.
I think that it's pretty crazy because it's like,
Nobody asked you.
stay at home. Dude, I had a great week. All right, first of all.
No, you didn't.
First of all,
we 8 weeks.
yeah, you guys all are like,
This seeped over to heavy hole, man. I'm not a fan, but that's okay.
All right.
I actually asked everyone. Yeah, we had this conversation, by the way, because I hate when you ask me questions. I hate it. So,
Infuriating, isn't it?
yeah,
Wait,
when Travis
Justin?
asks me a question, I'm just like, what the fuck do you think? But when Will goes, Tom, how was your week? I go, thanks for asking, Will.
He's
Well,
got
that's
that
pretty good.
bravado.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's way nicer when Will says it.
Just because he can growl and shit, what the fuck? I can do that too.
You're doing the exact opposite of it right now.
Oh, look at me, the metal. I am dying in a cell. No, my week was great. All right, I'm making a new shrimp tank, and guess what? Got this tiger rug, dog. Check him out, yo.
Is that real?
Yo, I just saw that tiger rug on the internet, and I wanted it as well. Can you send it over after you disinfect it?
Sorry,
Boil
bud. This
it.
is one of a kind.
very exotic.
I have
thanks.
been like a dog wiping my anus on it. So you might not want it. I have anal glands that need secretion.
Okay, so the toilet paper shortage is hitting Travis pretty hard.
I love that rug. It's a fun rug.
I mean, less so now.
All right, so I'm going to ask another question. You guys can go fuck off. You might as well just leave. Who's on the Chopman's boy? What dicks can we snap in half?
All right. So tonight on the chopping block, we have none other than wrestling legend Jimmy the Superfly Snuka.
Oh, shit. Don't know who that is.
Brother.
If you don't know, he's like the cream of the crop wrestler. This man.
love wrestling.
And the reason Justin is in on this episode is not just a guest to hang out. He's an expert. And by expert, I mean he knows a lot.
I like wrestling.
Right.
Got it.
Everything I
turtles?
know about wrestling comes from Justin and me tuning in at certain times. We were talking about this one for a while, so we gotta do it. This is an interesting guy. He's very funny and then also very deadly. So we're doing the wrestler. Justin, how would you summarize Jimmy the Superfly Snuka? And I keep saying the Superfly, but I think it's just Jimmy Superfly.
It's just Superfly.
So kill me later.
Well, so much of why Jimmy Snuka is heralded as a legend, or at least a groundbreaker, why his name is remembered in the pro wrestling community, is that Superfly fucking nickname. You know, he's one of the first to introduce that high flying off the top rope, adrenaline filled, fucking I hope he doesn't die style of wrestling.
So he's like a spider monkey and shit? He's jumping off ropes?
He's the original spider monkey in the ring.
Like Rey Mysterio, like jumping around the ropes and stuff like that.
If you will, yeah. But doing this in the 70s, the 70s and 80s, he had this, for what he lacked, like English speaking on the outside of the ring, he had this charisma and this ability to garner sympathy from the crowd inside the ring. And when he turned that energy on, when the match turned, everybody kind of felt it, and he brought the crowd with him. He told beautiful stories.
No.
With his body. Definitely not his mouth.
With his very large,
that's a
very shiny
lost
body.
art. That needs to come back.
It's around. It's called pro wrestling. I'm bringing you the past.
Wait, but Justin, it's not a sport. It's fake.
It's better. It's two things. It's sports entertainment.
Yes.
Well, I was to bounce off of Tom, where Justin is like our friend's wrestling encyclopedia. Justin took me to the first wrestling show about like a year ago that I've been to, and before that, all these guys are kind of like, at least you and Tom, like you've watched some wrestling. And I was like, I don't get it. I wasn't into wrestling when I was a kid. I played the video games, but like that's about it. And I went to a show and I was like, I get this. This is live action fucking Three Stooges. It's great.
Yeah, and you were at a small indie show in a brewery in Brooklyn, right? So like, we paid what, $10 to get in, and you're standing right at ringside.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
You can fucking beads of sweat have a greater than none chance of landing on your face, and you get fully immersed in the action. And yeah, man, it's fun. For Three Stooges is a great comparison, I'd say, because it's physical.
Cool.
It's a physical art form.
When you weren't looking, you were out for a cigarette. I was just getting the beads of sweat from the ball sacks right next to the ring.
Collecting them with the playbill that they hand out at all the events.
Why'd you funnel that?
It takes some people 100 shows to get that sort of insight, and you did it in the first time, so I'm proud of it.
Thanks, Dad.
All about insight. Well, roast mortem, we specialize in insight and incest. No incest this time around, but
I mean, that we know of.
Let's get into the show. All right? Let's start.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. Should we ring a bell first? I don't know.
I'll put it
do
in
it in
post.
post.
Ring the bell.
Yeah.
Ring the bell.
Ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding,
Ding,
ding.
ding, ding,
Oh,
ding, ding.
Okay.
dinner served. I want some chicken with white gravy on it.
That's a triangle, Travis.
So,
Whatever.
just to let you guys know, I used this man's autobiography, which kind of goes against roast mortem standards.
Nah.
Because we don't like to take someone's word for it. But this guy is so poorly documented because he was a jungle boy. He just lived in Fiji and then Hawaii and, like, never wore shoes. And who's going to write about this guy? So
Himself.
I got his autobiography. It's fucking hysterical. It's called Superfly, the Jimmy Snuka story. The sentence structure is terrible. The points are confusing. And the unique word count is very low.
Are you telling me that a wrestler's not good at writing?
Possibly. Maybe that's where I'm going.
It's truly a good source because he barely wrote it, as he barely thought out things in his life and career.
Yeah, it's like they stapled Post-it notes together or something.
Yeah, he's not like a Damien Sandow
No.
who appreciates the English language.
I want to see that Hulk Hogan autobiography.
That's probably really good.
Mike,
Probably like-
can you read that and just tell me about it?
What?
The Hulk Hogan autobiography?
Is his brother at the end of every sentence in the book?
It makes the book like twice as long somehow.
So Jimmy's book kind of has that in it. I'll tell you about it later. So Jimmy was born in Fiji, May 18th, 1943, as a result of an affair between his mother, Louisa V2 Smith, and his father, Charles Wimbledon Benjamin Thomas.
Whoa.
It's a mouthful. Jeez.
Wait, I don't know which one's funnier. V2 Smith. That sounds like Will Smith's side project with fucking Peppa and Salt and Peppa. And then you got Wimple Pimple.
Charles was married already to a lady that lived very far away. Louisa was arranged to be in a marriage situation with a Navy dork named Bernard Ryer. The family was a hot mess, and the union of Bernard and Louisa was a binding of business rivals. Doing what? I don't know, but that's what Jimmy mentioned in the book. His mother's family had been involved with blackbirding, which is kidnapping of foreigners to force them into indentured servitude.
Oh, cool.
No.
Oh, shit.
It's terrible.
You could see how this family would be primed for working with the McMahons.
It's interesting because I live in a city now in Portland where that shit used to happen.
Shanghai and blackbirding are the same thing.
Yeah, so Shanghaiing in Portland, they'd get regular Americans drunk, and they literally, sometimes they'd pill them and drug them up, and they'd take them through the underground tunnels to the docks and send them off to Shanghai or I guess
my God.
Fiji, and they'd
just
wake up
on
on
your way to
ship
China.
like, oh, all right, well I guess I'm a slave boy now.
Get your
me.
American in a cage, man. It's fucking hot.
Looks like
commodity.
looks like I got to get shrimp for the rest of my life. Not bad deal.
It's a very mean trick. It's like
I
how the
had a wife, so thank you.
Yeah, I would never pull that trick on any of you guys, by the way.
Like how
If I wake up,
the Iron Sheik was shipped to New York, and Vince was like, "Americans are going to hate you now because you're different. Let's put
Yeah.
you gotta get a boner against Hogan and fucking lose the belt." Yes,
So Jimmy claimed that he believed his grandmother was his mother, as she was the one who took care of him and spent most of the time with him, as Louisa tended to play favorites with her other children. And his mother let him believe that shit, because she's like, all right, that's a kid I don't really have to take care of. Until the age of 7, when the family moved from Fiji to the Gilbert Islands, which is somewhere in between Fiji and Hawaii. If you look for it on a map, you're going to see a lot of water.
Yeah.
so he basically moved into Waterworld.
Yes.
Like where like paper is worth more than gold and people
Yeah.
buy dirt.
But they're just constantly smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
And somehow paper is a rarity.
Cody, is that
Absolutely.
what happens in Hawaii? Is it actually Waterworld there?
No, we have soil. It comes out of the water.
Some of it. Yeah, but some of your soil is like flaming.
It does that. It does do that sometimes. They don't mention that in the brochure. Like, oh, come and farm here after it cools off. But we manage somehow. I'm not quite sure of the scientific details behind it, but we're here.
Yeah, I mean, all those islands exist. We can't deny that. We can't deny them that right. Grandma stayed behind in Fiji, and this is when his mother had to break the news to him that she was actually his mother.
Ooh.
So I got that going.
Surprise. Got punked.
Ashton Kutcher's like, yo!
On the Gilbert Islands, the family lived in a hut, and our little Superfly would collect coconuts from trees, roughhouse with the other boys, and strangle chickens when his mom was tired of eggs.
Wow.
Life was good. Except that Jimmy's stepdad, Bernie, would get soused and beat the shit out of his whole family. So, in fact, life was terrible.
Yeah, why'd you say it was good?
I don't know, because I think when I was reading the book, this is how my brain worked. Like, I was like, that sounds fun. Oh, no, beatings? Keep it in the script. No editing.
Are they constant or like once in a while?
If you spend too much time inside of the thoughts of Jimmy Snuka, you develop this sort of like contradictory line of thinking where you have fun one moment and then you don't the next, and then you can't remember why you had fun in the first place, and then it's all bad, and then it's good again. You don't know why.
It's like a degenerative psychosis, honestly.
He's extremely simple. Like, we're talking, when I'm reading his book, he's just like, oh, man, that was a bad time for me, brother. I would be out there having barbecues with everyone. We were having a great time getting fucked up, but it was bad times.
Okay, he's one of those.
I feel his vibes.
So when he was 15, he figured out why he would get the worst beatings in the family from Bernie. He learned he was a bastard.
Oh, makes sense.
He had no idea why. I don't know why they waited. I mean,
I'm sure they told him he was a bastard before, but they never had the sit-down conversation of, hey, you're a bastard.
I didn't consider that.
What?
Like, maybe they just kept calling him a bastard, and he
over
never
his
realized
head.
what it meant. Like,
That's a funny word they use for me, brother. I don't know.
Jimmy, you are literally a fucking bastard. And he's just like, don't be mean.
What does a parent say if like their legal husband or significant other, whatever, is present in like an actual gangbang? Like, that's just a toss up, right? Like, you don't know.
I don't know, dude.
You
Yeah,
don't.
what the hell?
Yeah,
what
you
the
don't
fuck are you
know.
talking about?
You don't know.
Charles, where the hell did I come from?
I'm with you, man. You
We're
don't
talking
know.
about bastards, dog. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, you call that kid a bastard, or you're like, he's just anything. Just roll your dice. He's a Dungeons and Dragons child.
I get
Yes.
what you're saying. I'm getting what you're putting down.
Yeah.
You just can't know.
He's a fucking druid.
You gotta record everything.
Yeah.
So he and his brother were sent to boarding school in Pohnpei. Not Pompeii.
Wow, that's confusing as shit.
Over in Italy, or where the fuck that is. Greece or Italy, I forget.
That's where Pink Floyd lives.
Fucking Europe.
Right. It's in Europe. Yeah, so he's in Pohnpei for 3 years because Bernie hated him. They didn't even let them come home for Christmas.
Oh.
The school, Christ the King, was a Catholic school that made all the boys work on a plantation. The boys were also beat at school, but in the name of God, so that it's fine.
That's not really a school, is it?
It was a school. He had to learn how to do something.
Oh, you left that part out.
In his autobiography, Jimmy refers to the reader as brudda a lot.
Okay.
But more interestingly is he refers to himself as this brudda a lot.
Dis brother.
Yeah.
This brother.
Yeah.
It's,
Cody, what
I
I
like this, Bretta.
Brudda.
that's how you
Okay,
spell it.
Bretta.
I was gonna say, Cody, when I met you and you were like way back in middle school or whatever, and you're like, I'm Hawaiian, and you didn't call me brudda, I was
You wanted your
disappointed.
money back, didn't you?
I was like, should I be friends with this guy? Is it worth it?
No. No, that was the worst decision probably of your life.
He basically speaks like Tito from Rocket Power being hit in the head with chairs nonstop.
Yeah. But there, like, okay, like, small tangent. Do you ever fucking play like Final Fantasy X?
No.
Okay, great. This is going nowhere. But there's a fucking character in there that like does that. This brother, that brother.
Oh, it's the one that looks like a Smash Mouth band member.
Yes, his name's Waka.
Okay.
Like, I'm watching
Oh,
Let's
Waka
Player. No. But like I'm watching Let's Players not realize that's like an actual dialect that people actually have. So they think he's like literally some high fantasy character. And I'm sitting here like, no, that's like how like half of my uncles talk. Like, so exotic.
You're so
Yeah,
lucky.
no, I work with someone that's from the islands, and she's just like, "See you later, brother." I'm like, "That's awesome." Sick.
I'm not your brother.
And I'm like,
Wish
I
I
wish
would
you
get
were
that.
like Cody. Cody, you let me down. What did
I'm
did the
sorry.
Midwest do to you? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Fucking
Whatever.
bleached me.
Well, if you move to the Midwest, the brother turns to brother, and that's a whole different wrestling tangent.
yeah.
And then
You can't
when I
roast
moved
that
to New
yet.
York, it was just, hey, asshole.
So throughout this autobiography, he tells stories of like minor heroic acts that he did while growing up, like when he saved this girl from drowning. He also follows up the story with something like this. I don't think of myself as a hero. I never have. This brother just does what he does without thinking about it too much.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
excuse
he
me.
does.
I phrased it wrong, but that's it.
Yes, he does forever.
Yeah, sometimes it's better not to think about stuff.
Yeah,
All right.
just a knee-jerk
Yeah, Mike, I don't
reaction
know.
guy.
I feel like you should log off now because you're just going to agree with this guy too much. That's like your philosophy.
I'm not.
I don't know, brother. I was in the figure four, and then I was like, I'm gonna get out of this, brother. So I did. That's what this brother does.
Yeah.
God, brother.
Right. So he claims to still have a hard time with the English language, even at the time of him writing a book. But he claims to be good with languages in general. For example, he says he can speak fluent Japanese. He can't read for shit, though. He even ate a can of dog food thinking it was corned beef hash. Couldn't read the label.
It's easy mistake. Easy mistake.
He wrestled in New Japan and one of the other promotions.
All Japan Pro Wrestling.
So quiet.
Yeah.
A tag team with Bruiser Brody actually was another famous dead wrestler, if you will. And he probably told like all these dudes in AWA in fucking Minnesota that he spoke fluent Japanese, and they just kind of took his word for it because they didn't fucking know.
Yeah, it's kind of like the universal lie, like, oh, I'm proficient in Excel.
Every wrestler's got to do their stint in Japan. If that's the only way you make it to the history books, I'm gonna say.
Well, right. We're also talking his career. You mentioned the 70s and 80s. That was like when sushi became was a craze. You know, in the 80s.
Sushi.
Like now we
Yeah.
have like I don't know what's
Karate.
the big craze like quinoa. That was like 10 years.
Well,
ago.
now
Quinoa.
actually,
It's like ramen.
yeah, ramen or keto
the
or something.
the big one now is the poke bowls, which is
Yeah, poke
Hawaiian.
That's just sushi,
Yeah.
but lazy. Just throw it all in a fucking bowl.
Thank you, Travis.
Yeah, so he's going around the Fiji Islands saying tempura, and they're like, "Whoa, listen, you fluent Japanese man."
California roll. Whoa!
Konnichiwa, you son of a bitch, brother.
Bitch, brother.
Yeah, so since he couldn't read, he spent his time playing sports and climbing trees. Island kid activities. The ocean was his education, brother.
On the seas, brother.
Yeah. He claimed to have a pet shark named Eat Me that he would catch fish for.
Cute.
He
No,
even
what?
let the shark eat the fish right out of his mouth. That's how much he trusted this shark.
All right. What is your opinions? I know you have 3 dog owners, and 2 people that. Oh, you have a dog. I'm the only one that doesn't have a dog.
I hate my dog, so I don't really count.
But
Yeah,
what do
Cody
you
doesn't
feel
own a
about
dog. He deals with a dog.
Yeah. What do you feel about people that let their dog eat out of their mouth? I think it's disgusting. I don't want dog kisses. I've owned a dog in the past. I don't want that fuck. They say it's cleaner than your human mouth. Bullshit. I've seen that shit eat like dead squirrels. That's
Yeah.
not cleaner.
But I look into my dog's eyes after he eats that fucking steak out of my mouth after I sucked all the seasoning off because I know it's bad for her stomach. and she says thank you with her eyes.
Oh.
So it's all good by me. Yeah, fucking do it.
It's worth it.
All right. I guess you're like brother. Let's see.
I'm
shark.
to like eating out of the mouth, but like a dog like kiss or lick is like 1 or 2 is fine, but then you have like the fucking dog parents that just fucking make out with their dog, that sends me down like the bad vibe street.
Sorry, Cody.
Yeah, you should be.
Bestiality boys.
I like my dog, but that's about it.
Yeah. I see my dog eating shit sometimes, so I don't really let him eat it out of my mouth.
Yeah, that statistic about the dog mouth is definitely a lie. There's more bacteria in a dog's mouth.
Depends on the dog. My dog's eating shit.
Yeah.
Well, my girlfriend won't make out with me, so I take what I can get in these hard times.
Yeah, quarantine.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
so just to let you know, if you haven't caught on by now, the book I read, the autobiography by Jimmy Snuka, is him tooting his own horn, telling people about how nice of a guy he is, how he's so relaxed. He loves everyone. He says, I love everyone, probably about 80 times, and I only read 3/4 of the book, so probably looking about 95.
I mean,
I love everybody.
I also hate people that are like that. You don't love everyone. That's a fucking lie.
Well, you know, I think this is a language barrier type thing, since he never really learned how to speak or read or anything like that. But whenever he would come into the ring, he'd always drop down to one knee and throw up the split finger, like sign language, I love you kind of thing. You know, and he did that, I think, as just to get critical people off of his back. You know, it was a little bit of a disarming kind of tool. Like, don't ask me about anything else. I love you.
I say that every time I jump into bed with a woman.
Yeah, get off my back.
Get off my back. I love you.
Wait, Cody,
my cock is on this side of me.
Yeah, I was going to say, she just lie naked on top of you, and that's it?
She can't tell the difference. I got a tiny cock. It's a tiny dick joke. But, you know, in reality, she knows where my front is because that's where my face is.
That's where the unfortunate bit is.
Yeah, the podcast comes out of Tom's front part.
Yeah, it's hard for you guys.
Let me quietly shift it from the left to the right, because you're on my right side right now. I love you.
In 1954, the military decided to see how cool some atomic bombs would look going off on an island called Bikini Atoll. Turns out, it was too cool. It burned a bunch of natives alive.
Oh, my God.
Not the best.
Well, they vacated an area, and they were like, this will be fine. That's all we need. And then it was like 5 times the blast that they thought it was going to be, testing this bomb out. So they killed some people, and it's kind of like on this very Bill Cooper level, like this is what they're trying to do. Right. You know what I mean? This is what they're trying to do.
They're covering shit up, dog.
Yeah, so either way,
okay.
The survivors of the incident were taken to the island Ebby, where Jimmy was living, for treatment. And they enlisted all the locals, or Jimmy in this case, to help. So basically, Jimmy saw all these casualties of war, but without a war happening.
Oh.
Like a very strange, dark thing in American history where we just killed all these territories that we had rights to by accident. And then we got Jimmy as a 15-year-old going, oh, fuck, I work in a hospital now.
Weird.
This is the wrong way of using Islanders, like as opposed to the way Vince McMahon would use them.
Yeah,
this is the worst way.
Yep. So the family moved to Hawaii when Jimmy was 15. Bernie got a job there. They moved. That simple. Got to fall around dead.
That's good.
Jimmy bragging about his youth in Hawaii. Let me read you a quote.
How do you brag about this? I'm curious.
Well, actually, Cody, do you want to read this? Because you're the only Hawaiian here.
Sure, yeah. Not even full-blooded.
All right, brother.
I'm not. Do you want me to put fucking character on this?
Yeah,
yes,
dog.
I do.
Yeah. Do it.
Speak that pigeon, dog.
I think I was 15 when I had sex for the first time. My memory was not what it used to be, but I do remember it was around that time that Superfly started making love, brother. Superfly never had any problem with a woman. Girls love the brother, and I love them so much. When I had sex for the first time, I liked it, but I don't remember who it was with. That may be hard to believe, but it's true. I don't remember her name. I don't remember much about her at all. It was real pokey. I had a lot of those. I will say this. If I could have gotten all the girls in the island, I would have tried. I thought I was a pretty good-looking guy back then, so I was confident. I kept myself healthy, and because I messed around so much with sports, I had good body. I was so hot back then, I remember girls would sometimes even send their brothers over to tell me they'd like to meet.
Damn.
Oh,
The Superfly had it all back then, brother.
wait. So he's using brother
I'm
as a slang, and then brother as a actual word. The brothers.
Yes.
I don't know if it's true or not. If it is true, I'm jealous. And if it's not true, then shut up. But just the way he paints it, it's like, all right, man. You want to be liked. You want other people to think you're cool. And guess what? You're pretty cool to some of us.
It's very like 16-year-old. Like, I want people to think I'm cool. Let's tell them I fucked the entire island.
Well, it's the Ric Flair adage of all the guys want to be me and all the girls want to be with me, right?
Got it.
And maybe there's some revisionist history here, but I'm not gonna rebut this. I'm not gonna refute any of this.
I'll just say he's
a buff
probably
man.
spot on. Like, this probably happened. And
He seems very smooth, you know?
He had a chiseled face and pectorals the size of your head. So,
Dude, look.
who the fuck knows?
Island bod.
Look at what the irradiated Dwayne Johnson is right now.
Irradiated.
I mean, he's basically you look at Dwayne when he was wrestling in the '90s. He's a scrawny little idiot.
Why is he calling The Rock Dwayne?
Well,
because that's what he goes by now.
As his little
He's a
Dwayne
Hollywood
boy.
actor.
He's a YouTuber, not Hollywood
Dwayne the
actor.
Rock.
Oh,
He's
an
in that
influencer?
He's in that new movie Terrence Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah,
Which is a heavy hold joke.
I'm watching it tomorrow. I cannot wait. And I know Terrence Hobbs isn't in it, unfortunately. But I'll watch this fucking fast canon. Never see any of the other movies.
yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, he was a scrawny boy in the '90s. Now he's like a brick. He's not the Rock anymore. He's a brick.
He's brick.
It's
He's
a
got those,
refined Rock.
Hey, he's going to the gym.
He's 15 pancakes with a chain around his neck every morning.
Yeah.
how you
So
do it.
he's a radiated Islander, and that's what Jimmy probably is.
Also, you got Roman Reigns is in Hobbs and Shaw too, so I just got to see it. Samoan culture all around it. Samoa again, like
And
are
Jason
there any
Statham
other islands?
being
Nope,
tiny
none.
and bald. All right. So the military base he lived by hosted all kinds of activities for the troops stationed there. One day, probably right after having lots of sex, Jimmy was walking by the outdoor gym they had set up for the troops. He saw some of those beefy boys pumping iron in the hot Hawaiian sun.
Gotta.
Sweaty.
He saw those beads of sweat dripping off their shredded, tan bodies, and he
yeah.
was sold.
I wonder if one of them was my dad. He was stashing in Hawaii.
I don't know if old Dick was one for working out or if he was just on the ladies. A lot of times you had to pick a side.
I don't know. I mean, the only thing I know about him is hot pants and rollerblading around San Diego. So if he carried that over into Hawaii, I don't think that he would be at one of these gold gyms.
You know, Dick was out there somewhere influencing some professional wrestling gimmick in the future.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You should jump on him from the top rope, though.
No, he's like,
So,
you want to be a good liberal, just, buy a gun.
So Jimmy goes up to this guard who's standing outside the outdoor gym, and he goes, hey, can I lift some iron with these boys?
Brothers? Oh.
Brothers. Yeah, you're right. Well, no, he probably said boys, brother.
You gotta say
You
the
know,
boys,
like-
brother.
Yeah,
Okay.
boys, brother.
Boys, brother.
Boys, brother.
Those are two
and
different things.
It's a pinnacle moment in his life. The guard says, sure. So that's how Jimmy got into bodybuilding.
Wow.
Hell yeah,
Defining
brother.
moment.
They used to say it's an upper body business, brother. So I'm sure he was clanging and banging with the most buff of them.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
bronzing in that
I wouldn't doubt
sun.
it.
He took bodybuilding very seriously.
I was going to ask you, Justin. This is an actual question, not just me being an idiot. But,
Okay.
like, how often is it that a wrestler goes from bodybuilding to wrestling? Because I know Hulk Hogan was into the Gold Beach, bodybuilding and shit. I almost feel like a lot of them are bodybuilders first, right?
I'd say it was more prevalent back in these days, in like the 80s, pretty much. Okay. 80s, maybe early 90s. The thing with bodybuilders is, while their physique is fantastic, the flexibility is low, the athleticism is low. But Vince McMahon loves a giant body. Like, he just loves if you fucking have all these like canyons on your chest and your body.
You've got double D's, but you're a man.
He loves it. Actually, Vince McMahon in the 90s, before he got into any like the XFL shit or any sort of side thing, started a bodybuilding competition.
Really?
And actually owned a supplement company called Ico Pro. And
Joe Rogan before Joe Rogan.
if you will. But basically, for pro wrestling, like, you had, like, the better you looked physique wise, the more money you could draw. So there's a ton of cases of dudes going from bodybuilding to wrestling, but their success kind of varies along the way. More often than not, the people that you've heard of, like Hogan or like Snuka or Jesse Ventura or superstar Billy Graham, like, those are the ones that kind of made names for themselves. But there are hundreds that have come from bodybuilding that you'll never fucking know.
Well, that's like
John Cena.
Yeah. Well, no, he came from the military. He's a military man, pro America.
He actually came from America. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, he was birthed. How they talk about their
experience comes from WWE.
Yeah, you know how they say there's a super volcano underneath Yosemite? Well, it erupted, and John Cena came out.
That's how it happened.
So,
did you see the new Godzilla? Because I'm sure Cena's one of those ancients that popped up.
He's a kaiju.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's not to be confused with Kaiju Big Battel, which is a different sort of pro wrestling. Chikara puts that on. There's actual kaijus that battle in that.
Oh, cool.
Let's take it from where I was.
Sure.
He got married around 17 to a young Portuguese lady named Carol Perry. Very Portuguese name. They lived in a small apartment and yelled at each other. One day, he found her fucking someone on his softball team in the backseat of his car.
And that's how Katy Perry was born.
Not cool, brother.
In the autobiography, he says, "I saw this, and what I said was, quote, 'That's it. Bye.'"
Oh,
see,
I never saw her again.
I like it. That's how you should do it.
No, that's not how you should do it.
Clean, clean
that was stretching his vocabulary a little bit.
Yeah.
Totally
No, you should be like, "Hey, that's cool. Can I help?"
Can I help? I like that.
Dude, he doesn't need help. Remember, he's almost got every lady on the island all over his throbbing coconut flavored cock.
Natural flavors.
Jimmy claims that he was a great baseball player and was sent offers from the Yankees, the Pirates, the Phillies. But his big, mean coach stood in his way. Quote, "He was a bad man who was jealous of me and wouldn't release me. The dumb coach couldn't believe I got those letters because he thought he was better than me."
I don't think he got those letters.
No.
Yeah. Not really. I doubt he did.
Same.
Hey, maybe.
No,
Mike,
because
not maybe.
Because the headhunters for the MLB are not in Hawaii. They're down in Colombia and Mexico and Cuba because that's where they all come from.
It's true.
Like, you're not going to find a Usain Bolt in Hawaii. You're going to find him in
Just
Africa.
not going to.
It's too fast.
The Hawaiians like to take it easy. They don't want to be outrunning people. They want to be surfing waves.
Yeah.
Am I right, Cody? What's happening outside of your window right now?
Yeah, you want to find a Kelly Slater, pro skater, millionaire? Then just go to Cody.
Go to Hawaii.
Yep, come here. Dime a dozen.
I mean, Mike skates the asphalt waves. He's an islander.
Yeah, bro, yeah. I am on an island as we speak. That is true.
So Jimmy starts working out at a gym owned by professional wrestler Dean Higuchi, better known as Dean Ho.
Dean Ho.
Who's
Justin, do you know anything about Dean Ho? I don't know anything about him.
No, Dean Ho was a bodybuilder who started a pro wrestling gym. He was pretty much like a glorified jobber in a lot of the NWA territories that Jimmy Snuka would
What's a jobber?
kind of venture to. So a jobber is a boy that does the job. And
Yeah.
so a jobber is kind of the slang term, the more derogatory term of somebody that takes the pinfall for bigger talent to get them over.
Makes you look
So
good.
he's like a stooge.
Exactly. Enhancement talent, I think.
Yes,
is the
Travis, but they don't
politically
appreciate
correct.
being called stooge.
Yeah, but it's a stooge.
They play a very important role, because you got to be a good worker, you got to be sound, and you got to be able to work with everybody, right?
They just get beat up, basically.
Pretty much.
They're the U's of this
Yeah.
show, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, that was harsh, Cody.
We didn't need a jobber, but we got Mike.
Mike, I am on the same smoothness as you.
That is possibly the meanest
No.
thing ever said on this podcast.
I didn't even get it.
Clear.
I didn't hear it.
No, listen,
There you
Dean
go,
Ho.
see?
Dean Ho is a former WWF tag team champion. He has accolades to him, but his career didn't amount to much. So there it is.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So we know a little bit more about Dean Ho. We got some vernacular in there. Jobber, for those
Jobber.
of you. Mom, I know you're listening, so that's what a jobber is. He says Dean taught him martial arts. Martial arts.
Yeah.
He says Dean taught him martial arts, and luckily he never had to use any martial arts.
Oh, thank God.
Luckily,
Superfly is more of a lover than a fighter.
Oh.
This might be a
man.
little foreshadowing.
yeah, brother.
Good vibes, brother.
We're going to find
you know
out.
that coconut peen fucking penetrates everybody on the islands, brother. If I want to, but I don't want to, I just take the ones I love, brother.
But he loves everyone.
He loves everyone, and he tries to paint himself in this super passive, loving person in this autobiography. That's what he's going for. Okay. He started taking steroids around this time, too, which he said he thought were just vitamins.
That's what everyone thinks steroids are.
I'm sure he did. That dumb motherfucker. I'm
Okay,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people that do take steroids could just be stupid and be like, yeah, that's a vibe. These are Flintstones, dog. See this Barney
Oh, you
Rubble?
beat
I
me to
put
the
in me?
Flintstones joke.
It's
Yeah,
like
dude.
cheat codes.
You still got to put the work in, There's a lot of negative connotations to it, but
So, but we're talking about a man that now, okay, every girl in Hawaii wanted to suck his big old Gilbert Godfrey Island dick, and now
It's probably small.
now he's doing steroids. It's a little it's
Shriveled.
I was gonna say shrimp, but
tiny
shrimp are
boy.
big. Shrimp, cocktail shrimp, jumbo
Jumbo.
shrimp. But I'm saying like more like a millipede. It's got 1,000 legs, but it's small.
Yeah.
Right, it's moving around, but it's
it's
under
travels,
rocks.
that's right.
He entered a
A+,
few bodybuilding competitions, and he even won a few.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah, he had great body.
It was Mr. Hawaii.
Yes.
Mr.
Oh.
I'm just gonna say Mr. Honolulu. That sounds nice.
Mr. Pearl Harbor.
Does.
I believe it.
But then he realized there was no money in these competitions, and he shifted his attention to pro wrestling. This is now how Jimmy gets into his shit. So he meets a wrestler named Cowboy Frankie Lane, who taught him all the moves, all the holds, how to take a bump, in exchange for some bodybuilding tips.
Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Lane was the person who got Jimmy to Portland for his first promotional circuit.
What up, PDX?
Listen, I'll just say Frankie Lane is a wrestler.
It's why you're here. It's fine.
There we go.
Do it harder.
Wrestled in Canada mostly and Puerto Rico. He had these feuds with Carlos Colon, who's probably one of, if not the most famous Puerto Rican pro wrestlers out there. Yeah, and he did some shit.
Well,
And there you go.
just to give some context, because the world we live in, and we have younger people that are more like seeing enemies, like Mike. So everyone knows that, like, WWF, WWE, but back in the day, right, Justin, there was independent. I mean, there still are, but there was independent wrestling leagues. So I'm kind of interested because, like, he's growing up in Hawaii. Is there a Hawaiian independent wrestling league? Like,
I'm sure there's tan men willing to grapple in this state just constantly, and they have a thirst for it. But
So I'll touch on this a little bit later, but let me lay the foundation right now just to get a few of the prerequisites out of the way. Back in the 70s and 80s, wrestling was territory based, and you can think of this as like your cable providers. There's these little cartels that ran a certain amount of the geography, around the U.S., North America, Mexico, Canada, Japan, Germany,
England,
all over the fucking place, if you will. And each territory had a main promoter that would book you for that spot. So in the U.S., there was this thing called the National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA, and the NWA was a main sanctioning body for a lot of these territories. So the NWA champion, most famously, say like Ric Flair, right, who was champion for most of the 80s, would travel around to Texas, to Minnesota, to the Northwest, to Georgia, Mid-Atlantic, Mid-South, Florida, all this kind of shit, wrestling under the NWA like title. Going to all these different territories that had their own syndicated local television stations that they would air their shows.
Right, this is like some Weird Al shit with UHF, where it's like, buy this fish and you're gonna see a wrestling show. Guess what?
Exactly. It was exactly like that.
stop saying guess what. Spikes my anxiety.
So the same way, if pro wrestling now had these independents have popped up, there's like even in New York, there's probably fucking 30 independent promotions around here. Those were more prominent and more regional as far as like the states that they covered. And yeah, so I can the best analogy is with like cable providers. How
Got it.
how
Okay.
yeah
That makes
how,
sense.
how ISPs or something now like would cover a certain amount of area. That's how wrestling promotions were back in the day.
Like I said, he's about to head to Portland to get onto his first wrestling circuit, but it would be inappropriate for Jimmy to go to Portland and begin his wrestling career without knocking up a Samoan and getting a shotgun wedding before leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Standard
There you
protocol.
go. There's the Samoan influence. You have to have
Living
it.
his life.
It is.
So he did that. He married his second wife, Sharon, to which he admits there were good times but no real connection. No worries, though. Shortly after moving to Portland, Jimmy got a house, and Sharon and Jimmy's mom and Sharon's parents moved in. And who else knows who moved in? Because, Cody,
That's
I don't know how you Hawaiian people do with housing, but apparently it's like rats.
You shove everyone that can fit into the house, and then you charge them rent, and then you make the house bigger. That's literally like
There you go.
Yes,
it's literally
that
a
was
thing
mentioned.
called monster housing.
So it's like
That was mentioned in the autobiography
Yep.
where he says how he built parts on his house. Like he bought the lumber, and then Sharon's dad was a contractor, so they just figured out. They're like, "There's 12 of you here now for some reason.
Yep.
Should we get a bigger house? No, let's just make this
it's
house
like
big."
Hawaiians
That's
in a
smart,
house
though.
are like cancer of real estate.
Yeah.
Whoever needs to get out of the waves, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Snuka got his mainland wrestling career started in the early 70s for NWA's Pacific Northwest Wrestling. That's the National Wrestling Alliance syndicated territory, as I mentioned before.
PNW.
So that territory is run by second-generation wrestling promoter Don Owens, whose track record for not screwing over talent earns him a reputation rarely given to people in his line of work. An honest, good man. He paid people on time. He fulfilled his promises. It was rare.
Well, wrestlers
good
back in
guy.
the day, I mean, there's that movie, The Wrestler, right? And I feel like that kind of portrays what wrestling was like. But, like, they don't give a shit about you, right?
Yeah, I mean, talent comes and goes. And I
Yep.
think that was the mentality a lot.
It's like podcasting. If you're my favorite murder, everyone loves you. You're the
Oh my
golden
God.
child.
Have you guys started doing
your heavy
podcast
hole,
steroids yet?
if you're heavy hole or your roast mortem cast, everyone wants to see you eat a vagina that's filled with diarrhea. All right, so hold on, pause everything because I sent you guys a picture earlier this week. Fucking BuzzFeed ripped us off.
Oh yeah,
they came out with something called Roast Mortem after we were out. And you can buy a Roast Mortem fucking shirt at Hot Topic. Apparently fucking BuzzFeed is in bed with Hot Topic. So fuck you guys.
Those are two horrible like companies combined.
How dare you talk shit about journalists? We need them now more than ever.
Or
independent
band T-shirt provider. Well, listen, now that the two greatest podcasts in the land, the Heavy Hole and the Roast Mortem, have combined here, brother, and you can see lightning bolts. I don't know if you looked outside of your window right now, but thunder's clapping.
I've been trying to ignore it.
And the lightning is striking right now because there's magic being made, dude.
That's nice.
All your MSM fucking podcast servers, man, is going to take notice about what we're doing here, dude. So let me continue right now with the Snuka, brother.
Please do.
So, Dono ran this promotion. It's phenomenal. He's doing a great job. So, Snuka, in addition to being paid well and on time, he enjoyed all the splendor a young worker could in the territory.
Oh.
He held the Pacific Northwest Wrestling Heavyweight Championship 6 times. Illustrious.
Wow.
He held their tag team belt 6 times. And
had
the honor of working a 2-year feud with another one of pro wrestling's greatest gifts to society, a rookie, Jesse the Body Ventura.
Wow, feuded with him.
I mean, he's calling out all them chicken hawks. I love Jesse, man.
Dude, Jesse can get it. Jesse can fucking get it. So over the next 7 years or so, our brother dragged his steroid and coconut saturated frame, flexing and splashing across the U.S., working for several of the big market NWA territories, including Texas, Mid-Atlantic, Georgia, winning championships, and quick to become a fan favorite at every stop.
Nice.
Snuka was he was a tremendous athlete with an extremely hard to match work ethic in the ring. Like I said before, his incorporation of high-flying moves was incredibly innovative for the time. And since he couldn't really speak English well, his storytelling in the ring and his athleticism in the ring was a main factor in him getting over.
So what was his main move? Because every wrestler has a move, right? And you say he's high-flying. He's high-flying. He's like jumping around. He's a little fucking, I was going to call him a Mexican bean, but he's like a
flying Hawaiian.
Flying Hawaiian. He's jumping around.
There you go.
What?
Tom, take this.
Like Justin's saying, like Jimmy is a huge influential wrestler. The look, the attitude, the move, the lack of shoes. People took note of that because he never wore shoes in the ring. Everyone else wore shoes.
Okay, no shoe sponsor?
No shoe sponsor. No. He hated shoe sponsors.
I think it was Enzo Amore before the controversy. He said, "Put your shoes on." I tend to disagree.
Take them off.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
Yeah,
take them off.
So just for all of our non-wrestling fans, mostly Cody, I guess, and Travis, I'm just gonna tell you what's up. He had a signature move called the Superfly Splash, which required jumping off the top rope of the ring, which is about 4 feet from the mat.
Yep.
With all 4 limbs sprawled out like a vicious sunflower, landing on the half-sitting receiver of this person. So whoever was taking it in, they couldn't be laying down. They had to kind of prop themselves up like quarter way through a sit-up. Overall, the move was low impact for the receiver because Jimmy took most of the brunt on his knees.
Great.
Ow.
Well, Tom, let me just cut you there. If somebody was half sitting up, that's to reduce the impact of the move, man. That's inside baseball on that.
Are you guys talking that it's not real though? Like they're not trying to hurt each other?
Shut up, Travis.
It's not about that. What the fuck are you talking about? What are those words?
No. It's a team sport.
Go on, Tom.
Team sports entertainment.
Like squats.
So it's very important that like, you know, you're talking to each other in the ring a bit. You're making things happen. You're making magic happen. So when you're like getting ready for this, you got to keep your eyes open. It's very important to whoever was on the receiving end of the Superfly splash to keep their eyes open and get ready for this shit.
Gotta look.
All right. So if the receiver wasn't laying flat or not paying attention, it would force the shit out of their colon post haste, as it did on one brown night for Jeff Miller, a.k.a. the Metal Maniac, a man whose gimmick was to look like a stand-in for the Andrew Lloyd Webber play Cats.
He's a furry?
Jeez.
Yes, they had gone out to a steak dinner the night before. Or right before the match.
They didn't go for a steak dinner. They went to Jimmy John's.
Wherever the fuck, no, there was a steak dinner and
steak.
Fucking,
you got to get your protein in.
Jimmy John's.
None of that bread
loading.
shit. So the two of them are out for dinner because they've been doing matches together for a while. And Jimmy's like, in the autobiography, he's like, this guy's not chewing one bit, brother. He's taking one bite and swallowing it. And I'm looking at him like, oh, this is not going to end well, brother. As it goes, you got Jimmy jumping off the top rope, landing right on this guy who's full of steak.
Oh, no.
Shits his pants all over the ring. It was probably one of the quickest back to the locker room moves in any sports or sport entertainment history.
Oh, shit.
A lot of shit everywhere.
Wait,
Yeah.
so you could see Brown on the ring, in the ring?
That I don't know, but everyone smelled it real bad.
I kept it in his tights, brother. Listen,
why
if you
they're
guys
tight.
want to do if you guys want to do a bonus episode of pro wrestlers who have shit their pants in the ring, I would gladly come back, and we can create some beautiful Patreon level content.
I'd love to.
for
I
the
know fellow
listeners.
podcaster, who's his name? The Punk, WC Fields Punk. He shit his pants. WC Fields.
He did, yes. He did a Duty Brown right in the ring, yes.
Damn.
Doo-doo Browns, man. I mean, it kind of comes with the territory.
It happens, but it's just a testament to how devastating the Superfly smash is. What a maneuver! Off the top rope, 15 feet in the air, splashing down on the opponent, man. There's no chance.
Didn't you guys make a song about a 5-finger splash? Is that what Jimmy Snuka fly?
Justin,
Yeah,
could you
okay.
just explain a little bit of how influential that move was to a lot of wrestlers?
Oh my God, yeah, sure. So, well, I'm also going to touch on this later in the pod, but it's never too early to talk about influential splashes. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. He's got to get a couple fingers
So-
in there. Go upward.
Stop.
You get a
So
splash.
Stop.
as I'm doing a kickflip on my tech deck right now, just landed
That's
it
what that sound
perfectly,
is.
actually. Landed with bolts.
Bolts, baby.
Yeah, this is just a testament to the innovative, like, high flying style that Jimmy Snuka was doing. I mean, like, maybe it was because he couldn't read, maybe because he couldn't speak, or he just wasn't really like fucking smart at all. That he's just like, let me just jump off the top rope.
Yeah.
You know,
He doesn't give a fuck.
like-
He's like, fuck
You
it.
say
For at the time-
innovative, but I'm thinking poop-inducing.
yeah. For at the time, like, no reason, but. You know, there's a famous story during the Intercontinental match between Don Morocco and Jimmy Snuka in a steel cage in MSG in 1983 that like Mick Foley was in the audience at the time and saw Jimmy Snuka do his Superfly splash off the top rope, off the top of the cage, and completely changed his wiring in his brain of like, I need to be a pro wrestler.
Wait, so Michelin
And there-
Foley he became a wrestler because of Jimmy Superfly. Like he was doing all that.
Yes.
I'm with the Undertaker. I'm gonna eat fucking glass on my back with my mouth back.
Is that the guy with the sock hand?
Yes.
Yeah, like the sock
These
puppets and shit like
these
that.
are all. You guys are well. Yes, thank you guys. These are all evolutions of Mick Foley's several characters.
Oh.
But the man was there that night, and that move was so astonishing, so amazing to that live audience, inspired a handful of people to change their lives around. Where I need to get into that squared circle, I need to fucking put my entire body weight on some fools from high up on the ground.
Damn.
And yeah, man, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, "That's fucking nuts."
He's
like-
a pioneer.
Like that's
Fucking-
crazy. My cardio isn't that good. I'd probably lose my breath a lot. I feel like I'd throw up. So, and shit, I don't want to work to change that.
No.
So that's crazy. But wow, this
All
is
right,
great.
not
television.
calling it a sport, but so
Shut up.
like you look at gymnastics. Like there's a video of gymnastics from like 1930 or 1920, and they do like a little flip, right? And they're like,
there's videos of gymnastics to this day.
no, I'm just saying in the past though, dog. In the past, you watch like gymnastics in the 30s. They like do a cartwheel, and they're like, oh, look what I did. And now they're fucking doing like 8 flips in the air. Fucking crazy shit.
Yeah, progression.
Right? And so like what I was going to say is like you watch wrestling now and you're saying like someone comes off the top ropes and like jumps on someone. That's like what you'd expect to see when you watch WWE nowadays. Someone's going to jump off the top ropes and hit someone. But back then
it's like
it was different.
It's par for the course now, but it's you're exactly right. Like back then, nobody had ever done it. Nobody ever seen it. Nobody had ever really done it. It's like 900, man. You know,
setting a trend.
Now they're doing 1080s.
Yes.
Now we're doing now you got the Young Bucks doing 450s off the top rope or shooting star presses like nobody's business.
It's like the 900 in skateboarding or a tray flip in skateboarding and it's like doing blast beats in metal, like that was a thing, and then it's like not rhyming when you're rapping.
Oh,
like
dude,
breaking the boundary.
Yeah.
Oh, it's exactly like that, man.
Yeah. So
I like
Justin,
how you used metal and skateboarding to describe wrestling.
That's all I fucking know. I don't know. I'm a poor man.
It's like politics, man. It's like saying you had the biggest inauguration of the world, right? You did. Because he came off the top rope and swore in on the Bible. You did. Now you don't even know now the next president, if there even is one.
Yeah.
He's got to do something else, man. He's got to be fucking full upside down dog.
Well, he's got to be erect. He's got to be so erect that he's holding the Bible on his own penis while he's swearing in.
Yeah,
that's right. He's got to be a single man.
That's gonna be hard to do.
Exactly. Yep.
Justin, tell us more about his wrestling career.
Yeah. Guess what? I got frozen shrimp in the fridge. I might heat that up after we're done.
It's frozen in the fridge.
Yeah, in the freezer.
All right, let me just do a side story, and maybe Trav, you can help me out because I also have a lot of frozen shrimp in the freezer. I don't know when to defrost it. When do you do it?
You do it when you're ready.
Like selling on the stock market.
You do it when you're like you have to. So like they have yoga class.
How many hours?
No. Like all right, they have yoga classes. You can do Pilates classes. I offer a 7-day when do you de-thaw a shrimp treatment, which you will feel.
So after 7 days?
No, 7 days to figure out when your chakras have aligned for you to de-thaw that shrimp.
All right, cool.
Travis, continue with this story, but I just want to tell their listeners, your podcast app should have a feature where you can skip ahead 15 seconds at a time.
You're gonna want to hit that like 8 times.
Yeah, just know
shut
that's
up,
there.
though. This is probably you should hit the rewind 10 seconds and listen to it again. So you'll get
how was
sick.
your weekend, Travis? Oh, crap. So, splash. Good. Tom, cut in right here.
Yeah.
So in 1982, the big call came from New York, and Snuka went to go work for the McMahons at the WWF.
McMonies.
Just round of
Big
applause.
time.
Let's go, dude.
Even in the territory days of pro wrestling in the 1980s, the WWF were big shots.
Mm-hmm.
Having control over one of the largest markets, the New York and the Northeast, and exclusive pro wrestling event rights to one of the most famous venues in the world, Madison Square Garden.
Cool.
All of this meant the potential for larger money for the boys, brother.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's good.
And it was a testament to how hot Snuka's name was in the wrestling world at the time that he even got that call.
Well, hold on, Justin. So,
Yeah.
like, we can't roast this cocksucker because he's still alive, amazingly. But Vince
Sure.
McMahon,
Sure.
he's been kicking it. How long has he been in the wrestling industry? Like, we're talking to the early 80s? Like, this guy's just been around for that long? He inherited that shit, or what?
Well, here we go. So this time that Snuka was signed to WWF, I think was made a little bit more important given the year of 1982. Because 1982 was the year that Vincent Kennedy McMahon, VKM, fucking Mr. McMahon, bought the company from his father. He created this company called Titan Sports, and he bought the Worldwide Wrestling Federation from his dad and took sole control over it, renaming it the World Wrestling Federation.
That's a coming-of-age story of Greenwich, Connecticut.
Connecticut. Yep. And Vince McMahon's his philosophy and his vision was this manifest destiny-like thing. This plan to rule the big buff boy world.
Oh.
To take his product from coast to coast, to gobble up all of the syndicated wrestling promotions, all the territories under one name, to make this big pro wrestling conglomerate. But in order to do so, he needed some beefy bait for all the slam-loving marks like myself to bite into.
Got it.
So let's cue the Superfly. Because here he is.
He's here.
So Jimmy Boy makes his WWF debut in 1982, paired with the true bulbous, sweaty creature from the beach and fellow Hawaiian shirt mutilator, heel manager Captain Lou Albano.
Yes, Dr. Mario!
Dude, Mario.
Love it so much. Now you might ask, why, if Jimmy Snuka was such a fan favorite in every promotion that he's been in, why would Vince McMahon bring him in as a heel?
Yeah.
Because
good question.
his skin is darker than everyone else.
Oh.
Well,
is that it?
Well, yeah. Well, Vince is just fucking afraid of Island Savages.
Yeah, right.
And he wants you to be too.
As you should be.
Shit.
You have no shoes on.
Tell
I
him,
can't
Cody.
trust you.
Yeah, dude.
If you don't have shoes, you can't work on Wall Street. If you can't work on Wall Street, I can't trust you. You're a fucking heel. That's. I feel like that's the McMahon fucking.
Oh my god, it's terrible.
I forget like the no shoes rule inside the house every now and then, and I take my filthy shoes into like my grandma's house, and she fucking yells at me in a language I can't really understand. But there's
English.
There's this like one time, like my fucking garbage disposal backed up, and the plumber came in without shoes. And I was like so fucking weirded out that there was a shoeless plumber in my fucking house.
Well, it's because you lived on the North Shore of Long Island for most of your life, and you're like, get them dogs off of my carpet. It costs $1 million.
And you're like Hawaiian Mario. What are you gonna do when my Hawaiian shit hits your feet with no shoes on?
Yeah, just like
what's gonna happen?
Gotta vacuum this rug more often. There's gonna be bare feet on it.
So anyway, Captain Lou led Snuka right to the top again to challenge for the WWF Championship against Bob Backlund. So Bob Backlund was a collegiate wrestling fucking prodigy.
Mm-hmm.
Came in corn-fed American good boy.
That's good.
At the time, he was champion for 4 years,
Full of corn.
which is unfucking precedented. Actually, Bob Backlund he's in the top 5 in WWFE history of the longest title.
Never
reigns.
heard of him.
Well, you don't like wrestling.
Travis, here's how you remember it. Bob Backlund, his finishing maneuver is called the cross-face chicken wing. Do you like chicken wings?
Yeah, buddy.
There you go.
All right, I love
remember,
this guy.
If you just think of wrestling, you think of chicken wings.
So that's like I take a road trip up to Cooperstown and like, guess what? This guy's got the fucking mozzarella stick batty boy, and I'm like, this is my favorite baseball player.
That sounds good.
Who the hell was that?
It was Steven Stevenson. He played on the Detroit Leg Boys.
Yeah, like the onion ring elbow drop.
I got nothing.
So Snuka and Backlund, they battled a few times for the belt, under Captain Lou's tutelage. The man knew how to work the system.
He plays Mario.
Their most famous match happened on June 28th, 1982, when they squared off at Madison Square Garden in a raucous back and forth steel fucking cage match.
Cool.
It goes this way, it goes that way. Backlund's got the upper hand. Oh shit, reversal. Snuka's got the upper hand. Fucking heavy arm bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the things happen.
This is the crowd for that. Yes, of course we know.
Now these steel cages, man, were fucking finicky. There are no blue steel bars of the 90s or red painted fucking TV friendly bullshit.
It was made out of barbed wire.
No, this was the loosest chain link you can find from the store. Maybe that was underneath Home Depot.
Okay. Is this before or after the fall of mankind?
Oh, this is at like 15 years.
Yeah,
before.
I'm thinking
Okay.
if
So
Lost
they haven't learned
Boys,
their lesson yet.
If Lost Boys made fences.
Yeah, I don't even know if they have zip ties back then, but it was held with like something like that.
Coconut
like
husks.
The wire bread things. I don't know.
Glue.
So during the finish of this match, with College Bob right where he wants him, a bloodied Snuka climbs to the very top of the steel cage, which is like 15, 20, like 75 feet in the air, and he leaps, looking to hit the Superfly splash. But Backlund is able to barely roll out of the way just in time, and Snuka lands, eating nothing but the canvas soaked in his blood. Backlund escapes the cage, and his reign continues. Because listen, I don't know if I told you this before. You win a steel cage match, you climb over the top, you escape, or it's a pinfall. Or a submission. That's how you win. So Backlund wins, and Snuka is left there to regroup, suck in his own blood, and ponder his life choices.
I'm saying a cage match just seems like when I was in high school, we used to sneak into a cemetery, and some priest would come out, or
cemetery.
Yeah, some grave attendee would be like, "You can't be here," and I'm like trying to climb over the fence, but it's not that tall. Don't worry.
You never climbed over a fence in your
it's
life.
only about 4 feet tall. Like I could probably step over it. But he's like, "You can't be here. There's Revolutionary War heroes here," and I'm like, I don't know. I'm drunk.
There's
and I don't
ghosts.
know.
You can't be here with the dead men.
You're alive.
Let me snapshot and put into perspective. Jimmy Snuka has been doing this Superfly splash off the top rope for a number of years now.
Yeah.
Inspiring people, captivating audiences.
Blowing minds.
Add another 5-6 feet to the height of where that splash comes from on the top of a steel cage, bloodied up.
Yep.
Soaring through the air at Madison Square Garden. The sight must have been even more memorable, exponentially memorable.
Yeah, how high is that? You said
than
earlier?
this normal
15,
thing.
75 feet?
75 feet in the air.
75 feet?
Hey,
least
you know what,
80,
Cody? He
82.
didn't even have perfect balance on.
Wow.
No, nothing. Brother, the Crimson Mask was running. His eyes couldn't see.
Did he do face
Just
paint?
feel. Just echolocation from the fucking roar of the crowd. That's how he
Hold on,
climbed.
Justin.
That's
Did he do
awesome.
face
wow.
paint?
Some
Because I know
talent.
back in the 80s, they used to do face paint on a lot of these wrestlers.
Yeah, Snuka never did
Okay.
face paint.
Just so, for imagery sake, so you know what's going on. Superfly loved the idea of Tarzan, so his entire career was based off of the look of a man in a loincloth.
Yep.
Hence the no shoes. After reading some of the book, I'm convinced that the no shoes thing comes from him only being able to use Velcro on his normal shoes and not knowing how to tie the shoes.
Yeah, he's a Velcromancer.
He's a Velcromancer, yeah. So he wasn't able to tie shoelaces. That's why he's stuck with the whole no shoes
I think
thing.
of a Velcro. When you said Velcromancing, I'm just thinking of like a 70-year-old man just that can't tie his shoes.
Oh, Justin, you've dropped this picture in here.
Yeah,
for
that's
us to look
that's a
at.
high quality loincloth to keep everything
Yeah,
inside
it's a
during like
classic.
the squat and the knees that he does. Like animal print too.
Oh, yeah.
Animal print too for those of you at home.
What
Well,
I would
he's
do for
he's
just,
a savage, right? So
What I would do for just some of that definition.
yeah.
I like his wrist guards, wherever they are, wristbands.
Justin, pick up where you left off with this match.
Cool. So this Bob Backlund Jimmy Snuka match, highly regarded by wrestling fans and critics alike at the time, and still today, as it was one of the greatest matches of all time.
Yeah.
The fans in WWE back then had taken notice of our good brother's athletic ability, and began to cheer for him. How could you not? You see that physique, you see that ability. I want him on my side, man. That's a brother. That's a brother I can believe in.
Whether it's out of fear or love, you want him on your side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he began to be cheered by the fans, as is the same as everywhere else that he's gone. And thus, a wedge was driven between him and Captain Lou.
Oh, no.
Jimmy Snuka and Captain Lou started. There's differences being driven between them because the captain no longer had the exclusive access to the cauliflower ear of his client. Then the people's voice was just getting louder.
Wait, but what about the people's brow, though? Where was that at?
Oh, dude, that's later. That's later. That's hot and shot.
Wait, but what I was going to say to you, Justin, was that I'd never heard of these guys. Why have I never heard of these guys? But I've heard of like Hulk Hogan when I was like later 80s. I've heard of like Ric Flair. I've heard of all these guys that came out of the late 80s. Why haven't I heard about Jimmy Superfly?
Oh, it's a simple answer, Trav. It's just you were too poor.
No pay-per-view.
You're
No
miscreant.
pay-per-view.
Yeah, you were just too poor to have the TV access
Or eyeballs.
and I'm sorry about that, man. Listen, money gets you in, and
You're poor.
you're poor.
All right.
Yeah, it's a miracle you made it here, based off the little.
That's right.
amount of
I
food
had
that
the
you had.
I
growing
didn't
up.
have a Sega Genesis, but I knew friends that had a Sega Genesis. And guess what? Jimmy Snookafly.
Oh, you didn't have a Sega Genesis? I'm not surprised.
I had a Super
with that
Nintendo.
income. I'm not surprised.
Super Nintendoms. So, guess what?
Yeah.
I had my Super Nintendoms, and I never even heard of them.
No blast processing for Travis.
No, I was blessed. I had to be free with my blast processing.
So this
Sorry,
rift
Travis, what
between
happened to you?
this rift between Captain Lou and Jimmy Snuka all comes to a head on the very short-lived late-night talk show ran by Nature Boy Buddy Rogers.
Oh.
The Victory Corner. It is revealed on this particular episode with Buddy Rogers and Jimmy Snuka and Captain Lou that the captain had been unwisely investing Mr. Snuka's money.
No.
What?
He'd been taking advantage of the contract
That's not cool, brother.
to the sum of $257,000.
Whoa!
This is 80s
This is
money.
Reagan money.
It turns out Captain Lou's been ripping off our brother the whole time.
And he's being Mario the
Captain-
whole time.
Captain Lou said that he was investing in a gold mine. It turned out to be lead. Right? So
What? Very different elements.
one's
Wait.
more richer and one's more poor. Trav, you want to comment on
I was
the
going to say, wait, was he actually investing in lead, or was that your analogy?
Kayfabe brother. So with the aid of Buddy Rogers, who's doing all the thinking because God fucking knows Jimmy Snuka can't do any. And if you watch the clip, there's ain't nothing going on between the ears. Captain Lou was relieved of his managerial duties. Like that.
Just like that. Well,
Gotta go.
Jimmy says
1982, no more Captain Lou. That's how you remember
Wow,
that.
look at that. Right next to Christopher Columbus.
in his autobiography,
Pemdas.
over and over again, says, "Hey, might not be able to read, brother, but me can count." He knows when he's getting jacked.
Yeah.
He knows
He's
when
smart.
shit ain't right.
That's a
He is
potent
standing at the
one-liner.
front lines of losing money like the rest of us Americans, and he gets it. He's an idiot,
Yeah.
so he's really in there.
Well,
He
He
could
gets the
fly-
joke of capitalism. We don't. We're just sitting here like, where's the punchline? As like,
What joke?
As just like we just bleed.
Yeah, no. He
So,
could fly from the top rope, unlike Christopher Reeves, who couldn't fucking fly on a horse. The 1980s,
Yeah.
fly off any
1980s
wheels.
were a terrible hellscape.
Well, he tried to fly off a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't a Pegasus.
Unsuccessful.
Mission failed.
Yeah.
So for the next couple of months, Captain Lou kept throwing his goons at Snuka. Captain Lou is very vocal about his disdain for the brother. And my favorite quote from a promo that he was doing with Mean Gene in early '83 was that Superfly is so dumb, you could take his brain and you could put it in a parakeet, and the parakeet would fly backwards.
That's good.
Whoa,
That's potent.
It's very good.
All right, hold on.
Very, very
but
good.
also fucking Captain Lou Albano's from like Wisconsin, and he's constantly like eating cheese and clogging his arteries. He's constantly clogging his arteries with cheese curds. And meanwhile,
I don't see how that has anything to do with intelligence.
No, meanwhile, Jimmy Snookafly is like, I eat only like Pacific salmon. I am the best man available. I am the bionic man of the 80s.
No. You're trying to paint a guy who ate dog food because he couldn't read the can as a Whole Food shopper.
I mean,
we all make mistakes, Tom.
I
smoke Camel Crush. I should be smoking Camels because there's no.
And I'm sure you've eaten several dog treats.
Those are healthier.
Look, man, I'm not here to judge. I'm only here to tell you how it is.
That's the entire premise of Roast Mortem. We judge.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Cody, you're right. I am here to judge. This guy's a fucking moron.
Travis?
No, well, Travis, we have words.
You know what? I don't look like Bono. That's all I got to say.
Captain Lou and Jimmy, it's no more, man. It's bad news, brother. Now, I'm just gonna put myself out there and say maybe it was the captain that was keeping this fucking muscular flesh train going on the up and up, because dark times are ahead.
Oh no!
For Mr. Snook.
Uh-oh.
And Tom, I see where we're at right now in this boy.
Yep.
So I don't know if you want to take over from this first incident, brother, or if you.
I like this tag team we're going on.
Yeah.
It's like pop.
I'm gonna do a little picture painting because I think it's important for everyone to know it.
Symbiotic.
Tag. Forgot where my camera was. Went for the monitor like a regular old smooth brain.
I'm gonna put that on YouTube.
So, wrestling culture was similar to rock star culture regarding sex. Jimmy never claimed to be faithful to his wife. Pokey pokey. He liked to call it that. I'm sure his wife, Sharon, didn't know anything about it. But honestly, who cares at this point? The man seems to have the brain of a fourth grader in his head telling him what to do. What fucking moral high ground are you looking for?
Right.
As being very generous.
Like, this is no surprise. The guy's out there, he's looking hot as fuck. Like, ladies are going to jump all over that Fijian rocket of a man.
I know, it's really hard. It is really hard. I will say I'm more of a liverwurst type of man, but it is kind of hard.
Yes, your upper body is so cut and chiseled. I'd love to just fish out the cum from all the crevasses on your upper body. It was just point it upwards and just let me find it. Let me hide and seek for this brother. Let me just the same way you try to find them steamers in the beach. Let me just try and lick that cum out of those secret crevasses.
There's something inherently. I know we said we weren't getting into incest with this episode, but there's something about like, oh, I'm gonna fuck this brother right now, which sounds a little incesty.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You do what you know.
Step brother.
So, like I said, he enjoyed having a family, but he admits he didn't like having a wife all that much. He says Sharon was violent towards him, and sometimes he would push her away to avoid any conflict.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's according to him. Also,
that's CTE-ridden brain. I don't know about that.
Out of his biography right now. So this is published material. Don't buy anything that I'm about to say.
This is why we don't use autobiographies, Tom. What the fuck?
No, but it's the best.
If you come into $1 million and you feel like spending $10 on it, it's worth it.
Wow.
If you only have $100,000 in your bank account, which meaning I don't have that. But if you had that, it would not be worth buying. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
You're taking the tall man's route. Your legs
The
are
tall man's
longer than
rude, yeah.
usual. You're about 7'1", and you're creeping into my room in the middle of the night.
Yeah, man. I'm like, where's that boy pussy? Oh, it's,
We've been talking about the tremendous upper body of this individual, but now we're going to get into the equally tremendous lower
Yeah,
body.
His grundle?
yes.
Muscular man.
Also, at this point, he starts doing a lot of blow. Blow is fun.
Dude, that's cool.
He wasn't fun on blow. I almost mixed that up. He wasn't blow on fun, is what was coming out.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
feel like if
But-
you're a real sociopath and you do cocaine, it's going to come out.
I don't
If
know
you do
if
any
Jimmy.
drug, it'll come
No.
out.
I don't know
I mean-
if Jimmy was a sociopath, which is less forgivable for the things we're going to talk about very soon.
Well, Tom, let me piggyback on that because Buddy Rogers, who we just talked about,
Yeah.
was actually he was Jimmy Snuka's manager after Captain Lou, and really the guy who Vince McMahon tapped to kind of assimilate him into mainland culture, like Northeast culture, if you will. And the quote from Buddy Rogers is that Jimmy could be a sweet person, but on that stuff, he was totally uncontrollable. Just completely, like, when he was all coked up, man, completely different guy. Fucking rage in a cage, using less of his upper body smarts. And more of that lower body primal bullshit.
Yeah, primal lower body.
Sounds like a smart
Well,
move to
I'm-
make.
I'm glad you said. I'm glad you brought up Buddy Rogers because now I don't have to re-articulate that point. But this guy was close to him. He wasn't just his ex-manager; he was also his neighbor.
Goddamn neighbor, man.
Oh, wow.
So,
In Portland?
they lived next door to each other. So, here's another quote about the relationship between Sharon and Jimmy. Jimmy used to beat the shit out of that woman.
Oh.
She would show up at our house bruised and battered, but she couldn't leave him. He had her hooked on the same junk that he was using.
Okay.
So his cocaine habit went from 0 to 60 really quick.
As they do.
He wasn't big on using drugs when he was in Portland, but as soon as he started doing more East Coast circuits, that's
Making
when
that
he
money,
got
brother.
yeah. The drugs were just there. He was bored. And like everyone who lives in New York, you have to do lots of cocaine if you're going to get it. Mike, when are you going to do this?
Fucking
man?
New York will kick you out if you're under quota.
Listen, the pro wrestling lifestyle is insane. Like, this kind of storyline or whatever crosses over with a lot of like tragic professional wrestling stories. Of these guys are on the road 300 days of the year, man.
Yeah.
Like nonstop. You're wrestling, you know, 6 days a week, twice on Sunday, from stop to stop, like just going. And
It's draining.
you know, it's what's gonna keep your head fed, and what's gonna keep it going, and it's fucking drugs.
well, yeah.
And some people
It's not.
handle it.
It's not
talented.
John Cena where he has to just show up sometimes, but he's not actually there. He just shows up sometimes, and he's like,
Right.
"Okay, I just made $1 million." This is a man that's like digging. He's working. Like he's cutting salami every day. He's a deli worker. You know what I'm saying?
It's true. Jimmy was a hard worker. He was at the grind, and he claims to be good with money, but he's honestly not.
No.
He was ripped off a lot of ways because he couldn't read contracts. So even though he was very successful, you had a lot of people in his camp that were ripping him off. But anyway, so let's go back into this whole, he's beating his wife.
Yeah.
He's on a lot of cocaine right now. This is in the early 80s.
There you go.
Little foreshadowing to about 4 sentences from now.
Okay.
Sharon most likely felt terrible about taking those beatings because, like, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
beating.
They're beatings.
But what made it feel even worse is that Jimmy was out there beating another woman regularly.
Behind her back.
Oh my God, he's consensually doing bondage.
Yes, beatings are a family activity, and having extramarital affairs is another thing, but it's a disgrace to the fine institution of marriage that Jimmy would go around beating another woman behind
Fucking
Sharon's back.
monster.
Oh, don't
What a
bring that.
scumbag.
How could
Yeah,
you?
don't bring that
How could
smack down, dog.
Jeez.
I thought I took your best punch. No, somebody else did. Ah.
Yeah. Is that another woman's lipstick? I mean, blood on your collar?
Just like an earlier episode of ours, in comes Nancy.
Oh, another Nancy. Little Sid Vicious.
Nancy's have hard times, man. Nancy's have hard times with pro wrestling, I'm sure, in other mediums as well.
If you're a Nancy and you're listening to this show, stand up for yourself.
Change your fucking name.
Because no one's trying to help
Don't
you.
change your name. Change your name to Nancy with an I. Because then your future
What's
lady.
Nancy? The guy that beats people?
Yancy.
Yancy.
Oh, yeah.
Yancy, funny.
So, all right. So we got Yancy. We got Yancy. Here. We got Yancy. So Nancy, this is who Jamie is beating.
Tom, I want to ask you a question, Tom.
Yeah.
Who was Nancy, and who was she dating prior?
Okay. Nancy was a young Italian American from Brooklyn. She was into wrestlers. She had a thing for them, wearing those traditional trunks, all sweaty and drippy.
I mean, yeah.
How could you not?
Her friend was married to a pro wrestler named Johnny Rods.
See, I just imagine, like, in the 80s, like, now people, you know, if you go on any of these, like, OnlyFans or whatever, like, people will sell their panties online. But I feel like in the 80s, it was like, sell your fucking Speedo. And that chick will, like, drink your...
It's just the way it is right now. You know, like, nothing's changed, especially now that there's no genders.
Yeah.
Johnny Rod's an old school motherfucker. I just want to,
so her friend was married to Johnny Rods, and she would be able to, like, hang out with her friend, and she met Johnny Rods, and she'd be able to get backstage at events with other wrestler groupies. She was one of the many girlfriends of Hulk Hogan at this point. But she wasn't into his hyper-liberal, polyamorous lifestyle in which Mr. Hulk Hogan chose to live his life by. And then...
Hogan loves the fuck.
Yeah.
Just gotta set you.
I mean, he's full of sushi, too.
Here comes
24-inch pythons, a lot of inches to go around. Just what are you gonna say?
Here comes Nancy. She's like, I'm not dating this guy anymore because his hair's spaghetti.
Got it.
And his skin is of hot dog.
Yeah. Drive it home.
So she meets Jimmy in 1982, allegedly. Could be on and off a few years. Who knows? She was 23 at this point, around there. So some claim that Nancy knew about Jimmy having a wife. She went steady with him anyway, even though he was, you know, it's like, oh, I got a wife, but what are you doing here? And others claim that she had no idea anything happened. But knowing someone like Jimmy, I would believe it would be the first of those two of her not knowing, because he doesn't even know how to speak. So how is he going to slip and say something about his wife if he's never heard the word wife before? The two would party together and do what party people do, like throw rocks at each other and eat too many Twizzlers. Shit got hairy, though, really quick.
Because of the Twizzlers.
Yeah, the Twizzlers.
Now,
it's hard life.
Hard life shit. Nancy's family got a bad taste from him right off the bat. Once they were, he was hanging out with Nancy and her sister, and he whipped out some blow right in front of his sister. And his sister was like, "Oh shit! Like, I know it's the '80s, but like, not everyone."
But like blah,
Yeah.
blah,
pro
brother,
wrestler.
but this is the blah, brother.
So this is like, this is the peak of him getting fucked.
I
So
know
he's
you're
just like,
you're in 9th grade and it's 2020, but bruh, why are you whipping out that Molly?
There you go.
Why are you drinking a Red Bull? You remember that shit? Why are you drinking them balls? Why are you fucking drinking them balls? So Jimmy is like, he's doing blow in front of this Nancy's sister, and Nancy's sister is like, it's my house. Don't do that.
Oh, okay.
And he threatened her immediately. Didn't skip a beat.
why
He was
not?
just like, yo, I could crush your head or choke you or some shit.
Yeah,
I don't
can
know.
fuck his-
I
fuck his
read or
splash
heard
shit.
this
I can
somewhere.
break your
I can't
ankles.
find the source, but it did happen. Immediately, like, Nancy's family is just like, oh, shit, this guy's doing blow and threatening to murder one of our other daughters? You got to be kidding me. Other daughters?
Other
Get rid of
daughters.
it. No way. We need those.
Otter daughters?
Otter daughters.
Otter.
Get
Get
off
them
of our
otter
otter
daughters.
daughters. So I'll tell you about the first incident that happened on record with Nancy that might have told any person with common sense to go.
Yeah,
Which would be Nancy
Swatch.
at this point. I don't want to be victim blaming, but at the same time, after this one, you might see a trend.
Pull the ripcord.
Yeah.
I don't want to take this personally, but I feel like lifting right now. I don't know about you.
Stop lifting. We're talking. It's different. All right. One night, January 1983, in Howard Johnson Hotel in Salina, New York, some snitch-ass, bitch-ass called the police, where they heard shouting coming from Jimmy and Nancy's room. Before the police arrived, Jimmy was seen dragging Nancy around by her hair through the fucking hallways. When the two responding officers got there, they knocked down the couple's door. Or they didn't knock it down, rather. They knocked on it, like gentlemen. Hello, who's there? And they were greeted by a screaming Nancy and a Jimmy dressed only in his underwear. I mean, he's in his hotel room. What do you, like, leave him alone. But he refused to let them enter. All right, that's fine. They should get a warrant. The officers had seen this movie somewhere before and decided to call for backup. Shortly after, 7 more police officers and 2 canine units showed up to help take down this drugged-up chowderhead.
That's a lot of people.
They pinned him.
Is he Judge Dredd?
It took 8 fucking officers and a dog to get this boy together.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so he got bit twice. One of the officers got bit during this because dogs are fucking stupid.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Jimmy got him.
You got fucking tanners flying, fucking sweat and meat flying, got dog teeth in there. Somebody's going to get bit.
It's a fucking mess right now. So they pinned him up after this long struggle, and they took him to jail wearing nothing but underwear in the middle of January. Now, the police did offer to help him put clothes on, but Jimmy refused because...
He's an Amazon warrior.
Just show off his body.
It's a body business, brother. Show it off.
Yeah.
When you take my mugshot, can you take it from my waist down? Because look at these fucking thighs right now.
Yeah, right? Like, they're going to rape him if they don't see his thighs right away.
Trust me, this guy's not getting raped. He's doing the raping.
Yeah, well, that's why those pictures were taken.
Can you take also more pictures of my lats from the back?
Yeah, he's getting ready to be sentenced. So during this entire ordeal, Nancy was able to get a call out to her sister, crying, asking her to get her the fuck out of there. She recalled that the fights had started because she wasn't paying attention to him. She was watching TV while he was trying to explain the good word of the Lord to her.
Oh, so she was trying to watch Regis, and he's like, guess what? Psalms 27. We will chill.
Why is it that all these people, you can't read, but you can read the Bible?
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Like, there's some hard words in
Dude,
there.
that was really hard words.
Jesus before Regis.
Oh, yeah? Do me a favor. Spell Deuteronomy.
Dude, I hate... Oh, no.
Deuteronomy.
I'll get back to you on that one.
I've never seen Dude, Where's My Car? But should I? We got all this time.
It's a terrible movie. Never watch it. This event resulted in Jimmy getting out of jail on a $5,000 bail and donating $1,500 to the police department.
That fucking department
what?
fund.
That's just accepting bribery.
No, he did. He says he did that from his own goodwill. He felt bad for being a nuisance.
Oh.
Thank you very much for arresting me. I hope you don't
Great
do anything
job.
else. Here's some money for yourself.
Don't worry. Have you ever seen The Fourth Rope? I don't think you have. So guess what? You arrested me, but kinda.
One last thing I want to point out about this is not the story itself, but rather how Jimmy talks about it in his autobiography.
Oh, yeah?
It's like nothing happened. Now, remember, there's 9 people involved in this that are not Jimmy. Police officers. There's 2 dogs out there. This is going crazy. There's a lot of people who are well in their mind who can say what happened. But you have Jimmy telling his story in the book. I'm paraphrasing here.
Sure.
Dude, I was sitting in my room drinking beer, and the police came in, and I'm all like, what's happening, ho-ha-ho-las? And they started beating the shit out of me with their howley sticks.
Howley sticks?
What?
Knock it off. I'm just relaxing, trying to watch the Jetsons, brother.
Wow.
It's a good show. I'd be pissed off too.
I don't accept George Jetson at all as a person because he puts his car, which is floating, in a suitcase.
Tesla.
Mine,
Cartoon.
I drive a Wrangler. I'm trying to take up 2 spaces at all time. I ain't trying to put it in a suitcase.
I'm so proud of you for having a Jeep.
No, you boys are Jeep men.
This is not the time. This is not the time for it. I know, but
I'm proud of myself, dude.
I'm just
Thank
gonna
you.
make the time.
I appreciate
So
it.
if you guys could see the visual right now, Justin has jumped from his house to Tom's house and is giving Tom a blowjob, a Jeep blowjob.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They're touching their Jeep grill,
Like,
their Jeep Wrangler grills.
Yeah,
together.
it kind of looks like Tom has lost a wheel near his ball sack, and Justin is jacking it up and attaching a new wheel.
He's putting a lift kit.
I'm just trying to install my lift kit on Tom's wiener right now.
Yes, it's called Jeep throating.
Tom, did you get it,
sir?
Did you get it?
I got it. My nuts are dry. Right. I just filled up. I'm empty already. All right. So we just talked about Jimmy's first run-in with the law and where we could see his true colors. Now, we're not really going to be referring to his autobiography anymore, which we have obviously seen is a giant sham of a man whose brain has turned into soft powder.
Yeah, he has a terrible memory, except when it comes to him, that he has a fluffy, beautiful, fucking soft memory.
Dude, he loves everybody.
I mean, your penis has the SD drive.
Okay.
And if you've ever wondered where the SD drive is inserted, it's right at the bottom of the shaft, right below where the balls really droop.
Okay.
And you can insert new memory into that. But if you reach a certain point, you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, who was my first girlfriend? Who did I lose my virginity to?
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but I like
Pokey.
In all of my research trying to refute that, I haven't found anything, so it's the truth.
Yeah, so basically the truth.
So we covered Jimmy Snuka's first real run-in with the law, where his drug use was kind of prevalent.
Yeah.
And I would just like to reiterate, like, this is while he's in the WWF and on his way up, and like he is the at this time the main attraction, and we're talking right before Hulk Hogan comes in. So Jimmy Snuka is the man.
He's the guy.
He's the man in 1982, 1983. That's who they're banking on for coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the night when it all kind of turned to shit.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, before we talk about the night that turns all to shit, what was his entrance theme?
Okay, so interesting point about this is there were no entrance themes.
Right.
Really?
And regarding entrance themes in this podcast, the reason we don't talk entrance themes on this podcast is because Cody is from Hawaii.
Yes, that's the only reason.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the sole reason.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
But no one on this podcast has anything to do with wrestling entrance themes.
Entrance themes in wrestling, at least in the WWF, and I think they kind of set the tone throughout. They weren't prevalent until after the first WrestleMania in like 1985, 1986.
Wow.
That's when like wrestlers started coming out to music, and even still, like the music would change, and there was no real themes. That started that whole idea started kind of to evolve in the late 80s.
Fancy. So
at this point, wrestlers would come out to nothing. You know, very similar to boxers at the time. You know, would just come out to nothing.
Oh, cool.
And kayfabe, like as far as the public was concerned, like these were shoot fights. You know, these were as real as it gets. You know, the business was still protected.
Yeah, the kayfabe was really important back then. I mean, it still kind of is now, but back then they wouldn't even let the heels use the same locker room as the babyface.
Yep. And for our temporarily smooth-brained listeners, kayfabe is a Carney term, and it loosely means the suspension of disbelief, man. Like it's the show. No.
Okay.
And what is a heel, and what's a heel?
A heel's a bad guy. A baby face is a good guy. That's
okay. Just so we all know, because I didn't know that until you told me. You're like, Travis, you're such a heel. Why are you pulling your penis out? Because
I'm a heel.
Well, you should have been paying attention to when you're watching The Grinch at Christmas time, when he's like, "You really are a heel."
Oh yeah, that's
He's a
right.
fucking bad guy.
Oh, okay. See, when I was a kid, I don't know if there was something wrong with me, but when I was a kid, I always rooted for, like, if I would watch G.I. Joe, I'd be like, fuck yeah, fucking Scorpion. Or, like,
Cobra.
I'd be like,
What
yeah,
the
Cobra.
fuck?
He was
Or,
fucking
like,
cool.
I'd be like,
How
fuck
did Mike
yeah,
just correct
like,
you
I
on
don't know.
Cobra?
I always rooted for the bad
G.I.
guy.
Joe's
I don't
sick.
know what it was. Like, fucking Splinter. Like,
Shredder.
he was the dude. He let kids... Whatever,
God,
Shredder.
that's fucked up
Yeah.
twice.
He let he let kids smoke.
This is the
cigarettes.
result of someone trying to be a heel and then turning into an alcoholic.
I could go off on a very substantial tangent right now, where you talk about people loving the anti-hero, people loving the heel, loving South.
Yeah,
loving
I'm talking
South
about
Park, loving Stone Cold Steve Austin.
loving the Joker.
Donald
What are we
Trump all
all
the
white
way.
men here? We're all white men here. We all love the Joker.
We are Bernie's
Everyone
heel.
here loves the Joker.
There's a clear line between Cartman and Trump. We can go there if you want.
Is there?
Clear as fucking day. Clear as fucking coconuts glistening on the Beastern Shores.
Beastern Shores.
So, on the night of May 10th, 1983, after finishing his last match at the WWF TV taping in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Jimmy Snuka returned to room 427 at the
420.
George Washington Motor Lodge
Right number.
to find his girlfriend of nearly a year, allegedly,
Oh.
Nancy Argentino, gasping for air.
What
Wow.
happened?
More like
wow.
gasping for dick.
Wow, what a sight. He calls an ambulance. Allentown Hospital, picks her up,
She have
takes
asthma or
her
some
in.
shit?
2 hours later, 23-year-old Nancy Argentino was pronounced dead
Wow. Fuck.
of
Shit.
undetermined craniocerebral injuries.
You got smacked up.
So not choking on a dick, more like getting your head hit in by a fucking ape boy.
Good asthma.
That-
All right, and just a
Go ahead.
just a quick note to our future sponsors. We are covering a little bit of true crime right now.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And
Please forgive us.
Yeah.
I'd love that. Hey, guess what? Hey, my favorite murder. You guys like getting that much money? Guess what? Roast mortem. We could get equally as much money.
Yeah.
This is definitely in the true crime realm, and I just want to say, as even a guest on Roast Mortem, that we don't condone undetermined craniocerebral injuries.
We got
We
nothing to
not
do with it.
We don't condone this.
Well, this is
No,
his first
no.
time,
I
everyone,
mean-
so give him a break.
Yeah.
Justin, I'm very happy that you took that strong standpoint.
How could you say something so controversial yet
I was
so
always-
brave?
We all agree on that.
I was always told that I was brave, and I'm happy to actually.
You're
act
very
out
brave.
this.
You're very
Thank
brave.
you so much. Let me list for you the facts before we get into all the alleged kind of hearsay, man, because there's really nothing else. And we're all talking. Listen, brother. The autopsy on Nancy showed that she suffered way more than 24 cuts and bruises all over her goddamn body.
Fuck,
Oh,
man.
no.
The deputy coroner on the case, Wayne Snyder, said, quote, upon viewing the body and speaking with the pathologist, I immediately suspected foul play. And so
She could have done it. She could have done it to herself.
She could have fallen downstairs into a pile of knives.
You could have fallen down. Yeah, you could have fallen downstairs on a pile of knives. Or guess what? You could have been working at the scissor factory, and oops, guess what? I missed one of the scissors.
And an avalanche of scissors.
So
It fell
Yeah, but
on
straight up, like, you look at this body, and it's like, whoa, that shit was killed.
some fuckery. So not only was the foreman of the scissor factory notified, but the district attorney was also notified.
I see.
On this.
Good.
So Snuka was held for questioning after the death. Originally saying that the two had gotten into an argument in the hotel before the TV taping, and that he had accidentally shoved Nancy, and she had fell down and hit her head.
Oh, my God.
never expecting to see what he did upon returning to the hotel room later. After that, he told the police that they had misunderstood him.
Oh.
And said that him and Nancy had stopped along the side of the road on their journey to Allentown from Connecticut, the previous WWF taping, the day before. And the pair had been drinking and fucking snorting God knows what the whole time, because
Twizzlers.
That's what you fucking do.
Jesus dandruff.
So his second story goes that they decided to pull over to relieve themselves, and Nancy had slipped on the mossy ground and hit her head on the concrete.
Oh my God. It's a bad story.
Meaning that her death at the hotel room was the eventual result of complications of a head injury from meeting the concrete very, very closely.
Wow, we were joking about scissor avalanches and falling down a staircase into a pile of knives, but that's just as less.
In the autopsy, they found absolutely no traces of her head hitting concrete, because when your head hits concrete or asphalt or any kind of hard rock, it's really easy to pick up the mineral that comes from the impact.
That's right.
So if she hits her head, they're going to find that in her skin.
The most they could deduce from the autopsy was that her head hit a stationary object, but it was not concrete or road, because, like Tom said, you would find some sort of particles of gravel or grass or something or to another
dirt.
Yeah, in that dead skull of hers.
I mean, so if you want us to talk for another 45 minutes on about why there weren't those particles,
we do.
You can head over to the Roast Mortem True Crime Podcast, or you can just continue listening to the Roast Mortem Cast, where we're just not going to talk about that shit, because guess what? She didn't get hit by fucking concrete.
So these two stories were among a handful that Snuka would tell, depending on his mood or mental state or
whichever he could
intoxication
remember.
level at the time.
Keep your story straight.
And it's important to say that none of these stories have ever been actually proven, and none are in the actual record as like the truth of what has happened.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the county sheriff had continued their case to no avail. But
Wow.
Later,
Really?
so a bunch of days later, on June 1st, 1983. As the county sheriff's office were trying to wrap up what was going on, Snuka met with then assistant district attorney Robert Steinberg and the medical examiner at the time, with one other person. And no, it wasn't Snuka's lawyer. It was Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Oh my God! Guess what? He walked into the ring and he was like, "Guess what? I got this box." A briefcase. I would hang this over a ring, but guess what? I'm going to leave it right on this table. You guys can fight over it.
It's so weird that you would talk about my ex-boss, I mean Cody's ex-appropriator, in that fashion. What did he... why was he there?
So I just want to say, for the validity of this amazing true crime podcast that let me on right now.
Justin, why did you turn our podcast into a true crime podcast? I never wanted this to be a thing, but guess what? Sorry, you blew it. You ruined everything.
Are you drunk and saying Drew crime? I feel like I've heard that like at least 8 times.
I'm talking about Drew Carey crime.
Yeah, parking tickets.
I ruin the heavy hole bi-weekly, and I thought I'd come over here. Just ruin what you have going on.
He's got a quota to keep up.
So the details are fuzzy, as there is no public record of what was said in this meeting. And Jimmy Snuka doesn't remember anything.
I mean,
as he's accounted, very conveniently, but more probably more believably, like, because he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like guess what? I was in TTBY and jerking off, but I'm not going to remember that.
He remembers nothing at all, other than the alleged very nice briefcase that Vinnie Mac had with him at the time of this meeting.
Oh.
Not Bernie, though.
No. So the assistant district attorney Steinberg recalls that Snuka kept his mouth shut for the entire meeting, and that Vince did all the talking.
As he
saying that Vince was very effusive.
Oh, that's a great word. What does that mean?
So he was very apologetic and sincere and like empathetic, towards the situation, but equally protective over his current center ring attraction, Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah,
throughout the entire thing. Now, Steinberg also can't remember any specifics from the
meeting. What a coincidence!
But I'd say it'd be safe to assume, allegedly, that he knew the specific amount of money in that fucking briefcase that was allegedly slid to him during this forgotten conversation.
The combination might be 000.
Allegedly.
So you're talking about a very boring Hell in a Cell where there's a briefcase.
Yeah.
Right? Like, super boring. Like, you guys don't need to fight or anything. Guess what? Here's the combination.
This is money in the bank.
No ladders or anything.
Yeah, this is money in the bank where nobody has to climb a ladder.
Nope.
It's just
And we're gonna put all of you on the same couch, and we're gonna give you the same amount of hot pockets. And the first person to get up and take a diarrhea dump is gonna get the info.
Jimmy Snuka, brother, is sitting across the table from District Attorney Robert Steinberg, dude. And they're sitting down for a contract signing for Money in the Bank, man, 1984, dude. And right before District Attorney Steinberg, man, is about to put ink to paper, dude, and put his name, sign the line on the dotted line, man.
That sounds great. I hope it's on pay-per-view.
And gives the briefcase right to him, dude. Totally undercutting the buy rate for the pay-per-view, man.
All right.
So nobody's getting paid except the district attorney, dude.
All right, brother. I hear you.
Brother.
Okay. So that seems to be the end of it. There were no further developments in the case, but in 1985, a couple of years later, Nancy Argentino's family obtained a $500,000 wrongful death lawsuit awardment, I guess.
Settlement?
Settlement, yeah, against Snuka in the U.S. District Court of Philadelphia. But the family never collected a dime.
What? Why?
Snuka's lawyers withdrew from the case, saying that they had never been paid. Snuka fired an affidavit claiming that he was broke, unemployed, owed the IRS $75,000 in back taxes, and had no fucking money to pay it at all. That he was a broke brother and cannot, and he just couldn't comply.
Well, that's what happens when your country gets nuked.
So now, right
Like
after
Hawaii.
then, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, but right after then, Jimmy Superfly put on one of the best shows of his life.
Tom, I'm so glad you brought that up. Because while all of this was going on in the early half of 1983, the same time was Jimmy Snuka's rise in WWF. He was working a program with then Intercontinental Champion Don Morocco. A very heated program, a lot of fucking sneak attacks and drawing blood and shit like that. A lot of nasty promos back and forth.
Letting him have
I
it.
think Morocco called him a wetback or something. I don't even know if he meant what he meant. But you got to, Don Morocco was a very thick, fucking obnoxious chorizo of a man.
He looked greasy.
Yeah, Don Morocco. That's the wrong ocean.
He was a very
my friend.
He was a very spicy, super side of a boy, and all about it. So
that's where all the racism comes from. It's called the Mediterranean.
The cradle of racism.
The two of them met in October of '83 at Madison Square Garden in another fucking steel cage. Because how else you gonna do this?
Why not?
It was available.
So it's not too dissimilar from his feud with Bob Backlund, man. These boys fought it out, tooth and nail, scratching and clawing, upper hand against upper hand. You're reversing moves. You gotta, if you're in one, you gotta get out of it. It's interesting when you watch his promos like after this May incident And there's a different look in Snuka's eyes, man. Like almost like kind of
OJ look.
almost like a little like murdery kind of look. You know what I mean? Like almost
Something
like
died inside of
your
him?
eyes are a little too wide for this moment. You know what I mean?
Squirrely.
That's racist
All
of you,
right,
He's
Justin.
a little too intense right now.
Well, I'm not defending what he did prior to this, but you're looking at a man that is athletically perfected his entire life, and then also a man that probably agrees that Mussolini was the best choice for Italy.
So here's the interesting thing is when I had mentioned earlier in the cast about the Superfly splash
Right.
on top of the cage. When he's wrestling Bob Backlund, he misses the splash.
Right.
When he's wrestling Don Morocco, he hits the fucking splash.
Oh, did any poop come out?
That was the show that Mick Foley was in attendance, and a handful of other future pro wrestlers were in attendance.
Okay.
And he wins the Intercontinental belt at MSG, hitting that fucking splash, inspiring a new generation of pro wrestlers.
Wow.
After he allegedly murdered his fucking girlfriend.
Oh shit!
Right.
What do you do? What do you do?
You
Cocaine.
Yeah,
Parties,
Yeah, but what do you
cocaine.
do after
You
the
forget
cocaine?
about it.
you
forget
kill
about
someone else.
more cocaine.
I think that maybe we should have a different look because now we're turning into a wrestling podcast. I know it's been a while. Maybe I should open my mouth before. But maybe Nancy is the Jesus that died for our sins. And when I mean our sins, I mean the wrestling community.
Is that how that works? I've
Probably not.
brushed up on the
Probably
Bible
not. She was just a girl who liked drugs and hung out with a guy who had drugs.
And
There's
fists.
at least
Yeah.
there is at least
Anger
3 other
problems.
Nancys in professional wrestling lore that could have allegedly died for their
Well,
sins for the
okay.
greatness of the craft, and it's a terrible thing. But no, these boys were fucked up, and you shouldn't kill anybody just because you can fucking jump higher than some other not fake
All right.
Samoan motherfucker.
Before we move to the question,
Uh-huh.
I want to ask this question. So,
Well,
this
don't
guy,
okay.
No, I'm just saying, this guy, I've never heard of him before. Like, I mean, there's people that I know, right? Like Hulk Hogan,
Right.
like The Undertaker.
Sure.
I never heard about Jimmy Snuka.
Good name.
Big Show.
You know, I never heard about him. So, like, did he actually make a breakthrough in wrestling? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is this guy that important? Like, I know he inspired.
Well, okay, Travis.
I know he inspired. No, I'm just saying. I know he
different
inspired
generation,
big
maybe.
guys,
I get it.
right? Like,
I get what you're saying. And what I'm gonna throw in a little dust from a reading. So basically, right after that happened, where he does this 1983 event, does the splash right onto Justin. What was his name again? I'm sorry,
Don Morocco.
Don Morocco. He does this
Okay.
splash. That was like the peak of his career. He was made.
Okay.
That was when Michael Jordan played that 96
when he was
game with the
when
Bulls.
he was all sick. And
Yeah, when he had
stuff,
coronavirus
the
and he
thing.
gave it to everyone else.
when he was against the Monstars.
the
When he was against the Monstars.
Yes.
Yeah, when he
Oh,
played
yeah,
against the
yeah, yeah.
Monstars, that was his moment doing that. So yeah, this guy was top bill, but wrestling moves quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Turnover.
shortly after, Hulk Hogan came into the territory.
And Hulk Hogan
And-
had already established himself, but now that he shows up, now he's totally overshadowed.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can't challenge the light from Hogan's yellow tights, man. You can't fucking.
Well, he's got the skin of a hot dog. He is a.
True American.
He's a god amongst men. You know, he's
But
true American.
It's like I was saying before, that high flyer, at least that you know, if we want to talk about like, if we want to bring it heavy hole style, that proto high flyer, fucking
Yeah, proto.
you know, that first blast beat. You know what I'm saying? You know, that
Allegedly,
first
the
alleged
first
blast
proto
beat
boy.
that he hit like off the top rope. Like that sent the groundwork for workers like Shawn Michaels, you know, later on, you know. He created a spark that grew into a fucking
Now,
burning fire, brother.
a little
Add some spice to it.
a little conspiracy that's going to kind of bring us to the end of this episode is that after this whole deal, it's best if Jimmy Superfly Snuka stays kind of on the DL. And that's not to say that he doesn't keep wrestling, because he does. He does his shit. He even shows up as late as 2010.
Really?
Yeah, he pops in and out. He's doing the Ric Flair thing.
He's doing the Legend Boy.
Yeah, he shows up every now and then with WWE doing his shit. But overall, when it comes to like news and who's keeping track of him, it is very, very under wraps.
Yeah, like he bounced around from to other different territories. Well, pretty much what happens is at the end of '83, he checks into rehab for all of his bullshit. After that, he shows up in AWA,
alcoholics,
this territory in the northern Midwest.
boys.
Makes his way around different things. He shows up in ECW in the 90s, still when it was Eastern Championship Wrestling before Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Could I find him, Justin? Could
Yeah.
I find him on Nintendo 64, or does he not matter?
That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah, you could probably find him in World Tour, I would say.
Okay, so he matters. He was on Nintendo 64
Yeah,
as much as Boris matters, as much as Jaws matters, as much as Oddjob matters.
You might find him in World Tour. Well,
He's not driving the truck like Sting in Revenge, but
that's true.
he's probably in a game or two.
There's two matches I just want to note from his fucking.
I didn't bring you on for
afterwards.
this. I didn't clear this on the script, Justin.
That's okay. One match happened in, I want to say, 94 in ECW. And listeners, correct me if I'm wrong. You know how to reach me? Nope, you don't, so won't hear you. He was wrestling a match in Eastern Championship Wrestling, which actually he was the inaugural champion for Eastern Championship Wrestling. Which
Is it Slavic countries?
No, that was the territory that became ECW when Paul Heyman bought it.
It's like Romania.
And you know ECW from that's the shit. But during why this match is of note is that the crowd started chanting, "You killed your girlfriend."
Cool. Oh shit!
And it's kind of fucking hilarious. Another match I think that is of note that Jimmy Snuka should be remembered for, but not because of him, is he was the Undertaker's first WrestleMania defeat at WrestleMania 7.
Oh.
So the long-lived streak of the Undertaker that lasted 21, I believe, WrestleManias. Jimmy Snuka was the first.
Wow.
And,
Okay. He's a mold breaker.
He took a gnarly tombstone, and got what he fucking deserved, man. That piece of shit. You killed your girlfriend, you asshole. That's it.
As I have been referencing, in 2012, Jimmy put out a book after all this bullshit.
Yeah.
He's broke. He gets over that by doing some WWE appearances. Never pays the Argentino family. But coincidentally, right after this book that he writes, where he talks very lightly about the Argentino mishap of a murder.
Oh, mishap.
Whoopsie.
He starts to get
that little thing that just happened.
a little thing. He starts getting some attention from the DA from the county that he had allegedly, bashed his girlfriend's head in.
Right.
So the case is opened again.
Uh-oh.
But
the case is all open and stuff, and Snuka's indicted again for manslaughter.
Wow. Okay. Fine.
2015, I believe.
Whoa, that's
15, 16.
That's recent.
Wow.
But our brother, man, he's halfway out the door,
What do you mean?
So while the preliminary trial proceedings are going on, he has a hearing with the judge, see if he's fit to stand trial, and the judge declares that he is not fit to stand trial, citing too many shots to the head. And
I mean, yeah.
So it's like
cognitive
that's like the
fucking
NFL.
decline.
That's the NFL defense.
You got that CTE.
Yep.
That's right.
That brain damage.
So
he's like, oh, yeah, he only halfway suicided himself. He destroyed most of his brain. But if you knew any better about Jimmy Superfly Snuka, you would understand that that's how he is. If he seems unfit for trial, it's just because he was born that way. He was probably at the top of his game.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, it's not to go without mentioning that in August 2015, before the trial was, while the mechanics of the trial being reopened were happening, Snuka was diagnosed with stomach cancer.
Oh, wow.
And had to have surgery to remove his lymph nodes and part of his stomach.
Yikes.
And all this kind of bullshit. So the judge sees him around this time, and they're like, you can't fucking do this. You're not going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to be all right. So, really a sad story for the Argentino family.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me how he did.
Damn.
Before we ask him how he did, I just want to put it out there. Mike, I feel like you have probably seen the most concussions, the most broken bones on this show. And would you say that your friends or you, I don't know, you're pretty smooth, would you be comfortable in a court of law saying that this man is not smooth or this man is smooth? Because I'm the judge right now. I'm Scalia. He's dead, but I'm Scalia.
But he's got a smooth brain. Does that mean he killed his wife? It's okay.
Yeah, would you say...
Can he stand trial?
Well, I like how Mike actually hit the hard-hitting question, and Travis has just been floating around going, I'm a man who's dead. What do you say? And Mike goes, well, is it all right if he's absolutely smooth-brained to the point where...
I'm just trying to get Mike more involved, because he's so busy thinking about how to do a shove-it.
Yeah. Lost in thought. No, that's, shit. If he's not all there, is he what's he gonna do? It's just a waste of trial.
True, but at the same time, this man is in trouble because he hit his wife in the head, and his excuse for not being able to answer for him hitting his wife in the head is he's been hit in the head too many times.
Yeah, and 32 years later.
Mm-hmm. It's a long time.
Yeah, all right.
He probably did kill his wife.
Well, this is lawyer shit right now.
Yeah, Cody, you need to shit all over Mike's response. Tony Hawk is a great man. He did 900.
Because the trial's reopened, in 15, and Snuka's like, I did, and the lawyers are like, nah, you didn't, and they gotta have the whole thing. So let's do the preface. This is the pre-ending right now. So in November 2016, after all of his cancer diagnosis, Jimmy Snuka is diagnosed with chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Dang.
And hold on, let me say it like this:
Oh, bro, Scott.
Got it. Yeah.
encephalopathy, commonly known as CTE, holes in your brain because of all the bullshit.
Yep.
And it's not fucking good, right? So here's the fucking timeline. On December 2nd, 2016, it is announced that Jimmy Snuka was placed in hospice care.
Wow.
6 months to live.
Ooh.
Because of the holy brain?
Because of the holy brain and his stomach cancer.
Okay.
Jeez.
On January 3rd, 2017, Judge Kelly Branch dismisses the charges, deeming that Snuka is not mentally fit to stand trial.
Mm-hmm.
Too smooth.
12 days later, on January 15th, 2017, at the age of 73,
wow,
Jimmy Snuka's dead.
Oh, Danny boy.
All right. So that's Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Yeah.
What else do you want from us? We're doing wrestling and true crime in one podcast. Doesn't that account for a quarter of the fucking podcasts out there?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, you know what? Guess what? My favorite murder, gone. Joe Rogan, he does MMA, gone. Roast Mortem, number 1.
Here.
Definitely.
We're here right now. It's like we covered both.
All 5 of us here are we have CTE, but we're here.
And guess what? If you want to listen to our show and then be like, hey, what should I listen to this afterwards? Listen to Heavy Hole, because, I don't know, there's some good music there.
Segues.
Yeah.
True. So, Justin, thank you so much for
No problem.
joining
Thanks,
us,
Justin.
being our guest expert and presenter on Jimmy's Superfly Snuka.
Listen, guys. I'm a first time, long time for this podcast.
Oh, look at that.
I've loved it since it was born. And are you gonna ask me to recommend an album or anything? I don't have anything.
Yeah, Justin, what
You
would you
gonna ask me?
recommend as a Dead album?
Yeah, let me know.
album.
Is it
Cool.
Weezer?
Yeah. If you listen to Nirvana's last record, Ride the Lightning, it's pretty dope. So check that out.
Sure.
Nice.
Dude, don't. If you listen to Heavy Hole, don't unsubscribe because Justin just said something that was probably very blasphemous. So you know what? Disturbed is a cool band. They're cool. I'm not gonna say they're great, but they're cool.
They're rabbi cool.
Weezer?
Yeah.
I mean, Papa Roach has its moments.
Also,
I only have a classic recommendation this week. It's a band called the Defibrillators.
Good band.
yeah, well, no, I was gonna say,
Information about them. Was Krug-Nally in that band? I don't know.
No, he wasn't.
no,
No, it wasn't.
Justin and I both can connect over the band Cold. I don't think anyone else on both of our podcasts. Can
No, I
connect over
can't. I'm
Cold.
removing
That's true.
myself.
Because guess
Yeah,
what? The guy had leopard print beard. That's cool.
He had leopard print beard, and he had to deal with a stupid girl.
Yeah,
And
everyone does.
No one. And she's going away.
Yeah,
Stupid
it's like a
girl.
regular
Like, you had-
old. It's like a regular old fucking Bob Dylan song. Stupid girl going away, and she's gone. What's with her life today?
I'm pretty sure that's what Jimmy Superfly Snuka said as he was watching his girlfriend hit her head on concrete,
Repeatedly.
flesh concrete that would be, it's his fist. Who cares?
Yeah, well, before we sign off, there's one other wrestler that you brought up, Justin, and maybe we will do this in the future. It's a madame. Madame. You mentioned her in the past.
Keep doing words.
Go on.
No, it was a chick. It was like when you
The
watch
Fabulous Moolah.
Yeah, when you watch Glow, you're like, oh, that seems so fun. I wish I was in Glow.
Oh.
But then
The
you're
Moolah-
like, oh,
yeah,
guess
the
what?
Moolah.
This is a terrible woman.
Well, here's my deal with true crime wrestling right now, and it's I'm trying to beat Vice, right? And Vice normally is a terrible resource for professional wrestling news or anything like that. I don't know why they put money into it, but they have a show that's actually done pretty well, and they did Fabulous Moolah like a couple of years ago. So I'm here, and I'm gonna give you the lesser known dirt on wrestlers who did.
Even Vice can't get that shit. And that's what
That's
Roast
right.
Mortem does, though. We look for the deeps. We go real diving in there.
Yeah, no one's going to talk about fucking Leonardo da Vinci's penis. They might talk about Leonardo DiCaprio's penis, but not Leonardo da Vinci's
Right.
penis.
So,
Forgive me for being too forward, but we don't need anybody else ripping off our podcast. You know what I mean?
wow. Yeah, this is very
We don't
forward,
BuzzFeed already stole our fucking title. So, and they're
Yep.
selling it at Hot Topic. So fuck
Yeah, we
them.
talked about that already. Listen, it's fine. Who cares about Hot Topic? They can take. They're losing all their money. We can retain all our employees through coronavirus. I don't know about Hot Topic.
No,
Our
yeah.
business
I know
model
there's
is a
a
lot
Hot
smarter.
Topic.
We got this shit figured out. Anyway, I need
Got
to
a
wrap up
lock.
this episode. Our listeners, I'm sure they want to hear the end of this shit. So,
Yeah.
without any further ado, Justin, thanks again. Appreciate it. Do us a favor. Give us money. Patreon.com/roastmortemcast. If you don't give us money, you're a thief. With that said, tune in next week when we have Paul Stamets in to tell us where all our dead people go and how they're back into the earth and how you can change your psyche.
Wow, look at that.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
sick. Sick of me.
Sign-outs. We've gotten really bad with sign-outs, so let's keep it that way.
No, but let me tell you about where
Justin, do you have anything to... What is
Unplug
it?
things.
Shout out?
Plug.
Or something?
Yeah,
You
you
have
got
anything
to plug your show.
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
that
like
great show you're on?
Cool. Yeah, Heavy Hole Podcast. It's heavyholepodcast.com. You want to type extra shit in, you don't have to. It's heavyholepodcast.com. Check it out. Buy sticker packs, promo code allegedly, get 10% off. That's not allegedly a promo code. That's the promo code allegedly. And support my brand new podcast, Roast Mortem Cast.
Good one.
They'll soon to be roastmortemcast.com, but check it out on Patreon, Roast Mortem Podcast.
No.
.patreon.com. That's how it goes, right?
No, patreon.com/roastmortemcast. And that's it. Whatever.
Get us out. Get us out of here.
Leave me alone.
Super
Leave me alone.
Jack
I'm
Pack.
dead inside.
Shane.
All right, one.
Shane, my boy.
Danky.
Danky, my Shane.
Shane.
My son has dank.
Peace out, yo.